we're live. Hang on just a second. Let me clean up the desktop here. All right. Let's see. Give it just a second. Give me just a second. Here we go. Now I'm good. All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Some chatter already over in the chat room. Hello, Ray. Alan Barnes. Yaman's here. J-Rod Photo Art was just in here, but he's off to do something else today. Paul Connors. Albert Jimenez. Hey, buddy. Good to see you, too. All right. So, yeah, the title's pretty self-explanatory. And this isn't a bash session or anything like that. Just curious how everybody feels about Nikon this year. And, of course, we'll talk about Sony, Canon, and Fuji, and any other that you guys would like to talk about. Hey, Stuart. Nice to see you as well. Nancy, hello. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. It was very quiet for me, but that's just fine. And I got exactly what I asked for Christmas. If anybody remembers, I asked for underwear and I got it. Yes. Oh, I know that may sound ridiculous to people, but you know, men are good about wearing things until they just fall apart. My wife had been complaining so much that finally I said, okay, get me some underwear for Christmas. And she did. Yeah, she got me some other things, of course. Hey, Daryl, nice to see you. So this is our last hoorah before we have the actual last event for the year, which will be New Year's Eve. And yes, I'll be on live New Year's Eve because I'm not one of those people that goes out to parties and all that kind of stuff. But I will be on live for anybody that wants to drop in. And obviously, you people probably have a life unlike me and go out and do things. Oh, man. Stuart got shoes from his wife. Hey, congrats, Stuart. My wife got me a pair of shoes. Was it my birthday? I think it was, or Father's Day. I can't remember. Let's see. Paul says he hopes to be alive on New Year's Eve. Frames, wow. How are you doing, sir? Good to see you. Glad to see you in here. Frames has had a couple of nice videos out. You may want to go check out Frames TM, his channel. A lot of people are beginning to talk about the Z8 now. It seems that's kind of the thing to talk about, since there isn't a lot more to talk about when it comes to the Nikon camp. D Moots is in Cotton, Minnesota. He's up there shooting owls, or let's see. Let me try to figure out a name that Z Wade would assign to them. Pigeons that can rotate their head 360 degrees. Oh, man. Let's see. Nancy, my husband bought me jewelry. Wow, here, I got to put this up on the screen, Nancy. Husband bought me jewelry. I'm having him return it for camera gear. I just don't want or need jewelry. I feel bad for telling him he tried. Well, yeah, you got to pat him on the back because I think that's usually a given when it comes to women, that they do like to receive jewelry. But, hey, my heart's with you, Nancy. I'm with you on that. Return it and let's get some more camera gear. That's great. All right. And Paul says Vahagen just did a video on the Z8 and people switching systems to Canon earlier. I just watched that right before we went live. I didn't know he had that up, so I went and watched it right before we went live. Yeah, and that's really kind of the subject today is, you know, and again, you guys that are in the, in the Sony or Canon or Fuji camp, you weigh in with how you feel that your brand did this year. Was it boom or bust? I think Yaman had a very interesting comment to that subject earlier, and I'm going to go up and read it because it's exactly how I feel, I think. If I can find his comment again. right, give me a minute, guys. Well, for some reason, it didn't migrate over to the live stream. Basically, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Yaman, if I get this wrong. Birders and wildlife photographers did extremely well this year in Nikon, in the Nikon camp. And for all others, it wasn't a particularly great year. When you look at the firmware updates, who got them, what got them, and you look at the kit that was announced this year and has been delivered, I guess we can say now for some, you know, as far as super telephoto lenses and things like that go, it's been fantastic. But, you know, everybody else is kind of left in the cold because there are a lot of people out there waiting to purchase their next camera. And they're just, you know, if they weren't, I mean, if I think that a lot of people are waiting for this new tech that's in the new camera in the Nikon camp. And they didn't, even though there were great sales on the Z6, Z7, Z6 II, Z7 II, there are still a lot of people that are sitting out there waiting for this new tech in the next body that Nikon produces. And then there are some lenses that we've talked about before, 2 to 500, 85 1.2, and others that we would like to see. Will we see those in 2023? I expect that we will. It has to be Nikon's year, because if they've done anything at all this year, I'm guessing that they've done a lot of prep for 2023. And I'm hoping you guys will weigh in with what you think. Canon did a reasonably good job, in my opinion, on getting cameras out. And they've even dropped some firmware updates here recently. Sony has dropped a few cameras. Fuji's done a fantastic job this year. So, you know, maybe 2023 is going to be Nikon's year, but at least that's how I feel. Yeah, my tufted titmouse in the back. Yeah, frames, you're in all camps, I know, except Canon and Lumix. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I've never seen you shooting a Canon or trying a Canon. So, but, all right, let me get back on track with you guys. Excuse me. Nancy, best gift ever that he bought me was an AT Pro metal detector. That's cool. You got lots of hobbies. I do too, Nancy. I do too. Paul, Nikon must bring out new cameras in 23 because the Z6 II, Z7 II are getting long in the tooth. I agree. And, you know, they're still good cameras. Don't ever think that I feel that those cameras are no good. They are good cameras. But there is enough new technology out there. And there are a lot of people that would rather future-proof themselves by buying something new that's going to last into the next 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. And I don't think that, you know, or they may already have a Z6 II or a Z7 II. And I'm not talking about Z9 owners either. I'm talking about those of us that are in the hobbyist realm, but we still want quality equipment. I think everybody's holding out. Everybody's waiting for the Z8 or the Z6 III. It's my opinion. I think the Z7 III will come, but I would expect the Z8, Z6 III up front. I don't mean together, but that could be a possibility as well. But we'll see. Let me get down here to the bottom where you guys are now and catch up. I gotta throw this up here real quick. Rod Van Rat spilled my good beer over the keyboard just before I thought about going to bed, and the message that you are alive comes up. So here I am. Well, I'm glad you're still in here, Rod. Man, sorry about your beer. Long Rider, how you doing, buddy? Let me get on down here. Oh, thanks, Yaman. I didn't know if I summarized it well or not, but Canon is a fraud. Why is that, Frames? Come on, man. I thought they did a pretty good job this year. I mean, I know that everybody's in the Canon camp still holding out to see what the R1's going to be, but oh, Greg Wilson, good to see you, buddy. Sorry it took me so long to get back down here. And D Moots is saying, so he congratulated D Moots on being up there for the Great Gray Owls. And D Moots says it's been very slow so far, but at least you're out there. You're out there, David, having fun. Fujifilm had a phenomenal year. I would agree, Albert. I'm not a Fuji shooter, as you all know, but I can pat them on the back for what the Fuji fans are saying about the entries this year. All right, David, go eat lunch, man. Get out there and find an owl. David Brandsma, good to see you. David Stewart, good morning. Oh, here we go. Uh-oh, you've been dimed out, Frames. Yaman said he saw you shooting Canon, but not Lumix. You should try the latter. Their full frame bodies are a joy to behold. Top quality, feature packed. If you can live with the, what is that? The AF system. And I understand, according to Simon over at Ordinary Filmmaker, I guess there did I see that he drop a video talking about something different coming from Lumix? Maybe I'm getting the brands mixed up here. Oh man, here you go. So Dice says, I'm in the hobbyist camp, but pulled the trigger on a Z9 because life is short. Amen, brother. I am with you so much on that. And I wish other people could understand why some of us feel like we want the best of life now. And, why wait? You don't have to be a pro to own pro equipment. So I'm happy for you, man. I'm really happy for you. All right. So, Stuart, a lot of people feel that way. Not going to buy what comes out next. It comes out, wait for the teething stage to pass on the new Z. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. I'm one of those beta testers. I have been all along with Nikon, D800, D4, D5, D810, D850. I'm just one of those beta testers. And so far, it hasn't hurt me. And I know a lot of people that maybe jumped into the D610 or D600 camp early. It wasn't a camera that interested me, but I know that there was some problems with it, with the oil and everything else. But I'm glad we got through all that. But I don't know, man. I'm going to be a beta tester. If I want something, if I know it's coming out, then I'm just going to get it. Well, within my financial ability to get it. Paul says a Z8 will probably be the same form factor as a Z6 II, Z7 II, and have a battery or be battery grip capable. Yeah, no doubt it's going to offer a battery grip. There's no doubt about that. But a lot of people are talking about they'd like to see a different battery. So your choices there are the EN EL15, which is actually a pretty good battery with the upgrades they keep making to it as far as milliamp hour and things like that, or the EN EL18, which would definitely increase the foot of the camera, if nothing else, which would look pretty strange with that giant foot at the bottom to hold that battery, or the possibility of a new battery. Now, I've talked to a few people about that. I guess some would be okay with another battery coming out, Nikon coming out, if they increase the size of the frame for the Z8. And a lot of people want that to happen. They want the frame for the Z8 to be a little bit larger. I don't know what we're going to see, but I don't know that I'm in the camp of, give us an intermediate battery between the EL15 and the EL18. I'll just shorten it there. Because now everybody's going to complain that they got to go out and buy yet another battery to have spare batteries and things like that. Just like cards, and which is another point. I hope the Z8 comes out with 2 CF Express B cards, not SD card and a CF Express card. Yeah, Canon gives you 10-bit video. And this is the big thing that a lot of people are looking for, Frames. I think you'll agree. That's one of the things holding some people back from the Z6 II and the Z7 II, is they want that internal 10-bit. Let's see. There, Briar's in here. Mega Briar Patch. Yes, life is indeed too short. Get what you want if you can get it. Canon lenses are expensive and they make noise. Front elements move. You know, I can't speak from experience. I hadn't heard anybody talking about the lenses or noise with the lenses or anything like that. I know they have a selection of affordable lenses. I don't know, how good they are. I know that some of the Canon shooters talk about it, saying that they're just as good as everything else on the market. So I can't speak to that. But I know they do have some expensive lenses. Of course they do. Let me look over here at my email real quick to see if anybody's asked to join. Nope. Okay. Back to the show. Yeah, and they won't allow third party. Now, I know that hurts them in a way. And there are a lot of Canon influencers that are trying to talk people off the ledge because Canon won't allow third party. But, I'm not a third party lens shooter. I typically don't buy third party lenses. I don't have anything against them. And up till now, it's because the majority are manual focus. And I just can't do manual focus anymore. It's just too much trouble for me. I don't like taking the time. I know that sounds terrible, doesn't it? But especially if you're shooting any kind of action sports or anything like that, I don't want to fool with manual focus. They're fantastic lenses. Don't get me wrong. And Vahagen's reviewed quite a few of them, as you guys know. So, and I know, Albert, you're all in on third party. So I don't have anything against them. And I'm glad that Nikon hasn't shut that down and maybe even opened up the AF4 AF lenses by third party. Well, they have actually, haven't they, with the Tamron entries now. Man, Frames, you're on a roll, brother. Every Canon camera is designed different. No one talks about it. You can't get used to the system because they keep changing button placements. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I do like about Nikon, although they did do a switch on a couple of buttons when we went to with the Z9, the photo review button. But I like where it's at now. It's just a matter of getting used to it. But I agree with you. It's hard to carry multiple cameras and not have them have the same ergonomics and button placement and everything else. You're right. Uh-oh. Dice said, thank you very much. We'll be submitting on those photo Saturdays sometimes when I do not forget to. All right, buddy, we'll keep reminding you. And our next photo review will be January 7th. That's Saturday, January the 7th. If you would like to submit a photo, by all means, people do. And what was I going to say? I will put more information in the thumbnail for this live stream on how to participate. I didn't put much in this thumbnail other than a thank you to a lot of people that helped me and got me started here in YouTube. And if you haven't, go down and check out all the people that are in my thank you list down there. Some great photographers, great channels, great content. I'm sure if you haven't seen them, you'll be happy with them too. Frames. If you want to edit Canon video files, you have to buy USD $4,000 computer with it. Well, yeah, I guess Nikon does have a slight edge there. You're right. But then again, when we start talking about video, there are a lot of people out there that are, indie filmmakers and those that want to they're budding videographers, trying to create content and everything like this. And they want the best video in the world. But for the majority of those that want that, want video, they're not going to go to the expense of learning how to color grade and everything else, which I learned from Frame Voyager. There's a big difference between color correction and color grading. And it somehow color grading seems to be the key term that everybody uses when they're really just doing color correction. I need to get Mr. Frame Voyager in here again to talk about video. I think we may have enough people that want to actually learn a little more about video. I know there's some that don't care if video ever existed or exists beyond tomorrow, but you know, there are people that, and that's driving the sales on a lot of cameras now is video. As a matter of fact, I mentioned it earlier, 10-bit internal is big for a lot of people. And please don't ask me why. I don't know. It's what they want. It's just like those that want a 61 megapixel sensor or a 70 megapixel sensor or an 80 mega. I don't know why they want it, but they want it. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with them wanting it. All right. T Tom, how you doing, sir? I love Nikon, have a Z9. However, Canon 2872 f2 that I love. And here let's see. That I love, and here I got myself an R5. Also, apparently, Canon will release a 70-152, okay, f2. It seems Canon is gearing Trinity lenses around f2. Yeah, you know, I did notice that. You're right. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see when they come out with that. Yeah, I don't have anything against Canon. I think Canon's doing a fine job. Again, everybody picks the brand they want and sticks with it. I'm not a Nikon fanboy. What I mean by that is Nikon can do wrong. And I know you guys have heard me talk about Nikon. It's not necessarily about the equipment. I think that they've been spot on with their lenses and camera bodies and everything else. I just think that they're taking forever to do it, and their marketing could use a boost. No doubt about that. So I'm not a fanboy. I'm going to, just shake my head up and down everything they do or everything they don't do. I'm not that kind of fanboy. I do like Nikon. I've been with Nikon a long time, and I'm going to stick with Nikon. If I was a rich man, I'd have all the brands, and they'd all be stacked on shelves behind me, so you could see it just like Jeffrey. You know, I'd have a Nikon shelf, a Canon shelf, a Sony shelf, a Fuji shelf, so on and so forth. But I can't afford that. So I got to save up to buy what I want, which is Nikon. Yeah. David says, I'm waiting for the Z9 III unless a better second, third, or fourth a low light, no mechanical shutter camera comes along. I think you're going to see some shutterless cameras coming here in the very near future. I think you're going to see it in all the brands. Nikon just led the way like they did in video. So now the question is, will Nikon carry it forward like they didn't do with the video? Missed out on a lot there too, didn't you, Nikon? All right. Phil, investing in glass. This is the old truth, supposedly, to photography. Invest in glass. It'll never let you down. You know, camera bodies come and go. And there is truth to that, of course, unless you were Nikon in the F-mount days. And, well, I'm not saying you have to invest in new glass, but it's so tempting to ditch the FTZ and buy the new Z-mount glass. So in essence, I am switching systems because I switched camera, new bodies, and glass, Z-mount glass. So I guess I feel like I've switched systems anyway. Let's see. Investing in glass. While I wait for new bodies, they are probably perfecting it. Great things take time. Yes. 2023 will be a great year for Nikon, and we will be broke. Absolutely true there, Phil. No doubt about it. I will be, because I'm saving now as we speak for the next camera body. And I've got a couple of lenses that I want to get next year too, if they come out. And Tom, I hope Nikon will release something spectacular in lenses, in the lenses arena. 105 1.2. Wow. That would be huge, man. And literally, it would probably be huge, the lens itself. But yeah, I think that would be tremendous. 135, 1.4, and of course, Z8 with the 80 megapixel sensor. Yeah, and I'll differ with you there, Tom. I don't want 80 megapixel. I'm not saying, I have no say in what Nikon produces. So, whatever I say, don't worry about Nikon listening to me. I want the Z8 to be just a all around go at it mini Z9, and I know I get in trouble for saying mini Z9. It will not be exactly like the Z9. However, there may be features in it that are even better than the Z9. Now that they've had time to, with all the firmware updates in the Z9 and everything else, I just think that camera needs to be the go-to, the buddy of the Z9. If you're carrying two bodies, I think that would be a fantastic pair. Just you already have the sensor. You don't have to go through that nut roll. You already have all the internals. You have the new X-Speed 7 processor. It just seems like an easy peasy build for me for Nikon. But we'll see. I still would like to see the Z7 III come out as the very high megapixel body, which would, of course, support everybody that does landscape work, studio work, and everything else, because that camera doesn't need to be a speed demon. But that's just my opinion. We'll see what comes out here. And maybe in a couple of months, we get a hint. Let's see. I need to come up with a new battery. Not very happy with the current battery life of the EN EL15C, even with the additional one in the battery grip. Yeah, well, I think it fares better than some of the other batteries that are out there, but I can't speak to that. Yaman, I know that you shoot different brands, and if one of the brands has a battery equal size, I mean, as far as physical size goes, that does better, let me know, man. So I don't know what they do. If they come out with a new battery, then, expect to see a frame change, or maybe it's a longer battery. I don't know. Who knows what they're going to come up with here soon. Yeah, and once you get used to that EL18, man, it's hard to go back. It really is, because that battery in the Z9, even in my D5 and my D4, would last me all day long shooting and still have life in it. Here's a comment. Ray talking about they seriously need to drop the price of the FTZ. This would help to change the mirrorless. You know what? I'm going to agree with you, Ray. I think it should be a lot cheaper. I agree with you 100%. And because it has it's just a pass through electronics to the camera. I mean, there really isn't anything in that adapter that could cost that much. I agree with you 100%. I think it would increase sales. People would be ready to maybe move to or include it with in some of these sales that are going on, at least include it with the camera body at no cost. I know it sounds crazy, but hey, you just definitely have to get, I mean, their marketing team, again, here we go again with the marketing. There's so many things that they could have done, I think, over the last few years. Their marketing with mirrorless, I think, has been less than stellar. I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but I just think that there were ways to counter the anti-Nikon, the Nikon bashing that was going on, and Nikon Corp didn't do anything to help us out. So, yeah, 247 Media. He just had a video out. He's talking about three RF prime lenses for under $1,000. That's for the three of them. For anybody that's Canon specific, you may want to check that out. Thank you, David. 42 watching and only 10 likes. Well, we'll grow on them over the stream. Maybe other people will begin to like. Oh man. Speaking of that, hang on. I did get a Christmas present. I've got to show everybody. Here you go, everybody. So my wife got me a shirt for Christmas. Oh man. My beloved bride, always thinking of me. She found that and she said I had to get it for you. So maybe I'll wear that New Year's Eve. Oh. Frames. Here we go. Frames is showing the fangs today. Canon's cheap lenses are garbage. Nikon users are far more self-critical than Canon users. They're tribal and baskets. Let's see. They're tribal and basks in self-adulation. Oh man. I don't know. I can't say that, Frames, because I've never tried them, man. This is the first I've heard of them being so bad. You guys need to keep me up to date, I guess. But So Tom says he'd like to see, as far as third-party lenses, the Sigma line, 35-1.2, the 105 1.4. I'd like to see them on the Nikon Z mount. Isn't Sigma getting ready to do something with the Z mount? Didn't I see that? Somebody reported it. Maybe there's a deal brokered and they're going to start producing some Z mount lenses. Oh, here's the $1 million question. The next camera that comes out, whether it's Z8, Z7 III, Z6 III, will it have a flippy screen? And okay, what do I think? And of course, I want to hear what everybody else has to think. I personally don't want a flippy screen because it just doesn't do anything for me in my shooting. That doesn't mean it's not handy for others, okay? This is for me. I couldn't see that screen if I'm standing 6 feet in front of the camera anyway. I might be able to kind of see, what the framing looks like, maybe, but it's not going to do me a lot of good flipped forward. The other thing about it that I don't really, it's not that I don't like, the ability to see, what's in frame, although I probably couldn't see it from 6 feet away. I don't like having the screen out to the side of the camera. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I want it because I'm so used to an optical viewfinder and now the EVF being in line with the sensor, the lens. It's just weird to me. And could I get used to it? Yes. Will I get used to it if that's what Nikon chooses to do? Probably. But if they do that and it flips out to the side, I know that you can rotate it all the way around and close it again so that you just have a flat screen on the back of the camera. And that's probably the way I would be using it. I really like what Nikon's done with this new 4-way tilt. I think it works for me, but I understand some people, they want it to, the whole rotation out to the side, be able to stand in front of the camera and vlog with it. Maybe on some cameras, I could live with that, but I just think in their pro or prosumer bodies, it probably isn't a good fit. But who am I, man? Who am I? I'm being selfish. I'm telling you, I don't want it, but that doesn't mean Nikon shouldn't do it. What do you guys think about flippy screens? You let me know. And Paul says he has quite a few third-party lenses, Tamron. And, especially in the F mount, I know that Tamron sold a lot of lenses, Nikon lenses, Nikon mount lenses. Yaman says, and I know Yaman is a Canon shooter as well, to some degree. Canon RF-L glass is outrageously expensive, but their non-L lenses are almost as cheap as Chinese lenses, and that's good, I guess. Definitely good value for the money. They don't compete with the Nikon Z 1.8s, but they are way cheaper. And there you have it. For entry-level people that just don't have a lot of money. And although the 1.8s aren't real expensive, but I mean, there is a difference between a couple $100 and, $600 or $500. The 51.8 is a fantastic lens. and everybody wants to call it a kit lens, or all the naysayers want to call it a kit lens, but it's a fantastic lens. All the 1.8s are, but they do cost a little bit of money, no doubt about that. And the 1.2s are going to be ridiculous. If, the 35 1.2, if that appears, 85 1.2, I want that lens, that 85 1.2, and I've been holding out for it. I didn't get the 50 1.2 because I want 85. I know that I'm going to pay a premium. I've already accepted that. It doesn't matter what it costs. I'm going to get that lens. It just may mean I have to wait a little bit longer. But, the 40 f2 is a pretty, it's a very good lens. I think the kit lenses in all brands have come a long way over the years. And, do they compete with stellar primes? No, they don't. Of course they don't. But they're still good lenses. So I don't know how to answer, anybody talking about cost of lenses. Just in any brand, there are going to be lenses that are going to cost a lot more. I didn't think it was a smart move for Canon in the beginning when they came out with their R, what was it, the Canon R, the very first, and they brought out the, 28 to 70 f2 across the focal range. I'm sure it's a stellar lens, but I just couldn't believe the cost on it for very first lens out the gate for the mirrorless system. But it seemed to work out for them. Let's see, Patricia, how you doing? I hope 2023 finally brings out the 800 PF. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about them accepting orders from dealers yet. Anybody else heard anything? I haven't heard that they had started again. Ordered it on the day it was announced, but I'm not an MPS member. All right, I'm with you. I'm not either, Patricia. And that does tend to hurt us, doesn't it? Hope it gets here for the migratory birds this spring. I hope it comes out, or they actually started producing them again, and dealers start providing the lenses again. I don't know. Nikon hadn't said anything lately, so I don't know what their plan is. And now we have yet other lenses that have gone back to the back burner, and I could only hope it's because they have little production facilities now, and they have to rotate what lens or what camera body or whatever they're producing at any given time. The 1-400's on hold now. I think you can still buy it. It's still available. There are still lenses available, but it's on hold as far as dealers ordering those lenses now. So that gives us, that's the 800. Let's see what else. The 1-400. I think the 400 2.8 TC lens. What other lenses are out there that are on hold? I haven't heard that Nikon's producing them again right now. Oh, let's see. But Patricia, I hope for you that they get that lens back in stock and you can have it to go out and shoot what you want. I know Greg Wilson photography in here. I think Greg's in here right now. He's been waiting for that lens forever as well. There are a couple of people that have had it in here. And as a matter of fact, I think one of the persons that had it sold it. So I don't think it was because the lens wasn't any good. It was because they wanted to go, the 400 2.8 and the 600 f4 is what they were looking for. Let's see. Let's see. All right, guys, watch it in the chat over there. We definitely don't want to get into a fight in the chat over the price of lenses. We need to fight the companies, not each other. Let's see. Yes, sir, Mr. T-Mid. Y'all get over and see Mr. T-Mid's channel for his content. Always shooting portraits, always talking about lighting. If you want to pick up some tips on lighting and such, go see Mr. T-Mid. Good to see you, T-Mid. Let's see. Peanut M&Ms. Yeah, man, they become my signature, I guess. Sorry about that. I know everybody hates me eating in their ear, but I like my peanut M&Ms when I'm doing streams. I don't eat them all day long, just when I'm doing streams. Here you go, David Stewart, for you, Patricia. I'm just scouring all the comments here, folks. Frames, can I offer you a couple of peanut M&Ms? Oh. So as far as video goes, for me, I'll be shooting in standard video profiles. And I am going to do some videos this year, or this year coming up. I'm sure they won't be as refined and tailored as, Vahagan, who is, his video production has just gone through the roof over the year. There you go, Tom. I had Sony A7R4. Glad that I changed for Canon. There are a couple of reasons for it. Lens mount, CF Express Type A, and this makes Sony expensive and limited. Yeah, that is funny about, will Sony make a change this year maybe? Will Sony make a change in 2023 and get rid of the CF Express A? And well, I mean, it's very difficult for them now to change their hot shoe. But what made them decide to put a non-standard hot shoe on their cameras? It's pretty crazy. Well, I'm trying to follow the chat over here, guys. Frames and all right. We quit throwing rocks at each other, I guess. That's good. All right. You're hoping Nikon will go with the Z8 retro look with no video. You really want to get it stirred up, don't you, Ray? You really want to stir me up too. I hope Nikon builds a retro, full frame retro, because everybody seems to want that to mimic the ZFC, but full frame, no video. I hope Nikon does that. But I got to tell you, I got to be honest with you. I hope they don't do it for another year or two. That's not a camera that everybody's, wanting. I know that if you're in a group of people that want it, you feel like everybody wants it, but I don't think that's the case. Yeah. But I do hope Nikon does it. Just like, and before we get into the APS-C body, I hope Nikon builds a comparable camera to the D500. I really do, but I don't think it's right now. Okay. I think that needs to be down the road as well. Nikon has a lineup of one camera right now, folks, and I don't know how I could say this any clearer. And I'm going to take some heat for this. I know that I'm going to take some heat for this. Nikon has one camera. That is the flagship. And why do I say that? Because all that tech does not follow in the other cameras Nikon has. They need those. They need to fill the team up here. They need to get the Z8, the Z7 III, and the Z6 III out. I'm not saying they have to get all three of those bodies out before they look at an APS-C body, okay? But you got to begin to fill the team, because that's where everybody's at now. When all other manufacturers are offering these same things, that are in, not the same in the Z9, but similar AF and things like that their flagship bodies have, or whatever they claim their flagship body is. With all that filtering down into low priced bodies, Nikon has to do the same. My opinion. And I would like to see them get the team full before we go down that road of an APS-C body. Well, I shouldn't say that. They have to begin to fill the team up, because right now Nikon only has one camera on the market. Sounds crazy. But I mean, look at the advertising, look at everything going on. The only time you see the Z6 II, Z7 II in advertising is for sale. It's on a sale. So, and people aren't buying them unless they're on sale. And there you go. Here's Joe Man's Land. So here's where we get into trying to, take care of everybody. I wish they'd push the video specs on their mirrorless. They have, Joe, but that's my point. It's in one camera body. All the camera bodies that follow the Z9 have not come out yet, and Nikon has to do that. And that's what a lot of people are waiting for. You know what? I'm jumping to the bottom, guys. I'm getting so caught up. I know. Let's see, where did that go? No, I don't want that. I pinned your. All right. I knew it was the Mrs. who bought that shirt. It absolutely was. That was one of her fun gifts for me. I'll be wearing it. I'll wear it. It's just cold, man. It's cold right now, but I'll wear it New Year's Eve. Well, thanks, Stuart. Yeah, anybody that would like to join, I don't expect a lot of people around. Everybody probably be enjoying life instead of sitting around a computer with me, but you're more than welcome to. Let's see. All right. Albert's down in Brooklyn waiting for a guy to buy lenses. Okay, Albert. Hope it goes well for you, buddy. Okay. All right. Going to the bottom. Sorry. I know I'm missing a bunch of comments. I apologize for that, but let me get down here and get into where you guys are at right now as far as the chat goes. Let's see. I don't know who that comment was. I will take your M&Ms away. Thanks, Frames. Oh, man. Nikon's in here. See, I was so far caught up in the chat up above that I missed Nikon coming in. Hope you're doing well in Ireland, buddy. Hope the weather's good for you. Ray Powell is not having such good weather down in the UK. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Absolutely, space people. Hello, Lance. Hello, Mark. I hope you gentlemen are doing well. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. I hope you guys had a great holiday. Got to say hi to the sons, of course. Aspiring photographers. Let's see. I appreciate you guys doing this. As far as the hit the like button, I mean, evidently there are people that don't like it, and that's okay. Oh, hang on, guys. Hey, buddy. Hey. All right, we'll do. All right. Bye. There you go. I had to answer that. That was all the way from Mr. Frames home. And let's bring Mr. Frames in. Hang on a second. All right, folks, we are back. Oh, man. Man, I'm trying to catch up again. Robert, the Z8 will look like the original Kodak Brownie camera. Jay, he agrees. Very true. Nikon needs to fill out their roster ASAP. I agree, Jay. Well, obviously I do. And thank you for your comment. It's nice to know that somebody out there can see what I'm talking about when I make that statement. It's like a basketball team. We have one player on the floor right now, Z9. We need to fill out the team. So, Luis, you went to the big local electronics shop, and the only Nikon was a Z30. I'm curious as to what the shop was. Was it a camera store, or was it one of the big box stores like a Best Buy or whatever the equivalent is where you're at? That is not unusual at Best Buy and such. Yeah. Okay. So you guys are, when I was upstairs, meaning way up the chat screen here, talking about it, you guys were replying. Yes, they do. They definitely need to get this figured out and give us some more choices with the new tech that's out there. I mean, how many people want to buy? Now, look, I'm not against it all. Anybody buying something because it's affordable for them, knowing that, it's older tech and things like that. I'm not against that at all. But how many people that are going to buy, make a substantial investment in a camera body are going to do that? Or are they going to wait and, hang on, I got frames. We got a problem here getting the email to him, I guess. How many people are going to try to future-proof themselves and buy a camera that's going to have 3 or 4 years in it before it's, more advanced tech comes out and they feel like they're behind? And I think that's what I like to do. I like to future-proof myself so that 3 years down the road, then I can start looking at a new camera body, but not next year because of the advancements in the technology that's coming out. I mean, is it just me? And man, I gotta come up with a nickname for you, sir or ma'am. GZ mail. I'm just gonna say GZ mail. I think everybody's having to adapt with the new technology that's coming out. You can see everybody beginning to change some things that we thought were standard. I would encourage, and you guys may not like him. I think he's a great guy for what he does. A lot of people call him, somebody that's just hunting for subscriptions and likes or whatever. But Simon over at Ordinary Filmmaker, at least Simon looks at all the brands out there and constantly goes through the internet looking for the latest and greatest rumors or things about, why is it sorry. He's always scouring the internet for that information and check it, check him out. I think you might be surprised at the amount of information that he puts out. And you can take some with a grain of salt, of course, but at least he's providing you with something to look at from all the makers. And he just talked about this with Fuji. And Frames, I see you're here, but I don't have any video yet.
Hello, hi.
All right. Okay, got. I have your audio, brother.
Okay, great. So I'm not I'm not right now because trying to comfortable. But
Your audio's dropping. It's breaking. You working on your audio?
it's better anyhow.
Yeah, I can hear you now, but you got to give me a sentence so we see if it drops out.
But I have to join today in my mind.
Okay, you have to join today on my, and then it dropped, but
Oh, okay.
so I'm getting bits and pieces of your audio. Tom, you need to tell us a secret. So many M&Ms and still in excellent shape. I don't know. I was just blessed with this. My brother blows up like a balloon looking at brownies, and I can eat the whole pan and go to bed. I don't know. I'm not bragging about it. I mean, it's just the way it is. I've always been that way. I carried a little more weight while I was active duty or running around chasing bad guys, and but since I got lazy now and quit doing that, I've actually dropped weight, believe it or not. Okay.
Hello, Chuck.
All right, hear you now, Frames.
Yeah. How are
Oh man, you broke up again.
I said
Nope.
no?
I'm getting one or two words, and then you're gone. Hey, Luis, I would expect, though, were you talking about more of the vlogging cameras and lower tier cameras as far as Sony and Canon? And I could see that, but you know what? Stop and think for a minute. What does Nikon have on offer in those categories, that price range? Really, the only thing they have is a Z30 as far as mirrorless goes. Because I'm assuming that all the D3000, D5000 series cameras have been sold by now. So they're not out there on display. They're long gone. And the only thing Nikon has beyond that would be the Z6 and the Z7. Those are out of production, so I don't know how many of those remain in stock anywhere. All right, Frames, you got it sorted?
Is it better now?
Nope, it's still breaking up. You got to give me a whole sentence so we can see if we're going to get the whole sentence or just parts.
So let me read out and let's see what else is there to read.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Is it
It's
all
still
right now?
It seems to be okay right at this minute.
So how are you?
I'm good, Frames. How about yourself, buddy? I had a nice holiday and going to have a nice New Year's. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a exciting year, and yeah, a lot of us are going to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But your audio is still trying to break up, buddy.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay.
So, so Nancy, you got your issue with the speed light and the Z9 figured out. Okay. Had it set on ITTL, so the flash was trying to put more light on the background. Christmas pics are better than my Thanksgiving pics. Okay. Well, congratulations. Good. Glad to hear that. Oh, hit the Mike Cage and bust everybody's eardrums. Let's see. And David Bransma, that's a good point. We're all chasing new technology in many fields. Absolutely. So why is it? That's a good question. Why is it okay for people to chase technology in any other hobby except for photography? Why is it photographers hang on to the past? I mean, they have an iron grip on the past as if I let go of this, photography is over. Why is that? All right, Frames.
Yeah, is this better now?
It seems to
Uh,
be.
okay then. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you made an excellent point there, and I think being your age allows you to kind of be uh, just look at things far more coldly than young guys, coldly in a more objective way than I think a lot of other people can do. Like you're right when you say, why do we have to stick to the past so tightly?
Well, there's nothing wrong with sticking to the past, but people want to carry it forward, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Rather than accepting that things have changed, you can still do what you wanted to do years ago.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like film people. Uh, there are people that love film. Film's not making a resurgence. I got news for everybody. I hate to bust that bubble. I mean, there are more people that are picking it up as a hobby again, I think, but film's not coming back for the mainstream photographer, uh, uh, folks or whatever. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see wedding photographers saying, you know what, I'm going back to film. There may be some out there that still shoot film, and God bless them. Let them do their thing, enjoy it. But all the talk about film is back, and there are certain people that are saying things like that. Or Nikon, give me a camera that doesn't do anything. It's 12. It has a 12 megapixel sensor and does nothing but photography. And if you want that, I hope that Nikon does it somewhere down the road. But I'll be the first to say I don't want Nikon to do that right now. For
Yeah, I
those
mean,
that keep saying
it
it.
doesn't make any sense because if you really want to do photography only, your existing Nikon camera will do exactly that. I mean, switch off all the functions, don't use them. I mean, what is that?
No, you're absolutely right. And then we get into video, and there are people that hate video. They just despise video. Cameras should never have video in them, and blah blah blah. If you want to do video, go buy a Sony camera. You don't have to use it if it's in the camera. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, right now for them, they don't understand that is what's selling those cameras. That is what's bringing them the camera that they want, the stills camera that they want.
So, what I felt, Chuck, is that there is a certain kind of romanticism with taking care while composing one shot, one frame, and getting it just right, versus video, which can be done with far less. Let's say it can be far less intentional.
Yeah.
So I think there is more thoughtfulness in getting one frame right and then than just doing a 10-minute video because you're I think there's this lack of seriousness in general videography that people talk about when they refer to, oh, video is not that it's not that artsy, for most people. But for filmmakers who took a look at video seriously, most of them have very solid photography background. It's
Yeah.
just they're just taking it to the next level. They're just serious about it. That's all. But oh, hi Vagan, what's up?
I can just jump in. Let me answer David's question real quick, Frames. Hang on just a second. General requirements necessary to join the live stream are basically you have if you can do a Zoom call, you can be on the live stream because I will send you a link and you click the link and it carries you right into plays in your browser, carries you right into the chat with us. If you would like to do that, send me an email. My email, chuckomail@yahoo.com, and I will send you the link, sir, and we will bring you into the chat with everybody else. It's really simple. Paul, I'm sorry I missed all your comments and everything. Let me catch up here real quick, and then I get back over here to Frames, and Frames is going to light the chat room up. I know he has something prolific to say. He always does. If you watch his videos, I love his editing. I love what he does in his videos. By the way, they're artistic. I don't need cookie cutter stuff all the time. I like something that's different, and I love what he does in his videos. Very artistic. And a pleasure
Thank
to
you
watch.
so much. I mean, can't tell you how good it feels to hear that from you.
Well, I mean, it's true. We get plenty of cookie cutter stuff, but I'm a weirdo. I like the artistic side of everything. I think it's cool. That's why I had the discussion the other day: is art? Have we lost art in photography? Because everything has to be so generic and to the letter, sharpness, and I don't know. It just we get too bent out of shape sometimes looking at photos. I either like it or I don't.
Yeah, but going back to the more important point, I somehow had a sense that you are a weirdo.
Thank you. No,
Yeah,
thank
welcome.
Oh man,
You're live, Chuck. You're calling yourself a weirdo.
yep. But that's okay to me. I mean, that's all right. There's only one thing I take offense to, and if people call me a liar. I may be forgetful, and sometimes I may say something wrong or whatever, and you can call me on that, and I'll acknowledge it. But I am not a liar. What you hear from me is how I feel. All right, Rod. Sorry, man. Good to see you in here. Glad to see you. We'll be on again New Year's Eve. For anybody that wants to join, we'll be around New Year's Eve having a good time. I don't know what we'll talk about, but that doesn't matter. You guys always drive that. It's easy for me. I just have to show up and open the room. Have a good night, buddy.
So, friends, Chuck, what I'm calling myself. Chuck, I think it's very important to. I want to straight get into what's good, Vagan. Just hear me out, okay?
Yeah.
I think there are enough legitimate reasons to bash Canon. If we have an open heart, and if we are conscientious, and then I think we should all dutifully bash Canon. I think they're a horrible camera company, and I think they're greedy. And I think one of the most honest camera companies are Panasonic. Actually, they're an honest bunch of people. I think Nikon are an honest bunch of people. Sony, I think now that I actually look at them very seriously, I think they're not. They have really helped develop communities, and I think the toxicities, yeah, that Matt Granger talked about came from more of Sony's followers than Sony themselves.
I agree.
But Canon, I think they kind of feel they're like the Apple users. I'm myself an Apple user, but I can understand that Apple users think of themselves as a cut above than the rest, and there's this slight bit of snobbishness about them, and they seem to not respect people's basic native intelligence. And I'm not kidding. I'm seriously telling you, a $4,000 camera has a micro HDMI. You can shoot in 10-bit, but only in log profile, not in normal picture profile. So Chuck, you'll have to actually learn advanced editing skill uh, in order to use the 10-bit, because for everything else it's 8-bit. Go figure. For everything else it's actually 8-bit. I mean, for people who don't use log profile in everyday use, for them it's a 10-bit camera. But they're marketing 10-bit. They marketed 8K when their 8K was not ready. So,
Yeah.
I mean, look at Fujifilm. They knew that it's going to kind of be problematic, so they ensure there's a fan that they could attach to the new XH2 cameras, right? So, I mean, they were honest about what they're doing, right? So they could anticipate a problem, they provided a solution. So if you look at everything, uh, they do fantastic marketing. They cut the market very thinly, but what they provide, they kind of tantalize you. They show you a bit of skin, but they don't give you the whole thing.
Mm.
They don't give you the whole experience. It's I really don't like. I don't appreciate that attitude overall. I think, right? And someone said, "Oh, Canon has great affordable lenses," but hello, those affordable lenses are you might not as well buy those lenses. They're not good. Number one, use Chrome, not Safari. Okay, how do you know that I'm using?
Well, audio problems usually kick up with somebody that's not using Chrome, that's using Safari. I don't know why Safari has such a difficult time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I can.
That's what Jeffrey had to do. Jeffrey finally had to jump to Chrome, and it eliminated the majority of his audio problems.
I see. Oh, that's a okay. Okay, I'll do that.
All right, you still have the link. I'll be waiting.
Yeah, I'm joining with Chrome as we speak actually. So I'll first join there and then leave from.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Get a question in here. Who are the camera companies, excuse me, making stuff for, and who should they be making items for? Hang on, Frames. Let me bring you back in under this new. There you go. Who should they be making items for, if not the same people? I asked this question given the fragmentation of camera user types and who provides the money. This is a loaded question. I don't mean in a negative way. There's quite a bit in here to dissect. Who should camera companies making stuff for, and who should they be making items for? If not the same people, I ask the question given the fragmentation of camera user type and who provides the money. So this is an issue I have actually with Nikon. Is they seem to have taken care of the pros extremely well over 2022. Actually, going back to the announcement and the release of the Z9, where the NPS members definitely got priority, which I have no problem with. But it went too far in my eyes when they extended that for a month. The NPS members had up to a month to make a decision as to whether they wanted the camera or not. I wouldn't have any problem with that, except for the fact the extension of that month meant that they bumped everybody that throughout the month had actually placed a pre-order for the camera. And I just didn't feel that was right. I think a short period of time for the NPS members. All right. So who should they be making? Should they be building equipment based on just what the professional industry needs? I think they go bankrupt if they do that, because there aren't enough pros out there to keep any one of these brands in business. My opinion. I have no proof. But just speaking to you guys, everybody here in the audience, how many people are professional shooters making a living on what they actually do as far as photography goes? It's the hobbyists that keep these camera companies going.
Yeah.
And I believe they are beginning to listen a little bit to the hobbyists. And I'm not talking amateur.
They have declared it in the strategy documents in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
They said it clearly.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
See, oh,
Joe Man's Land has entered the arena. How you doing, Joe?
Great, Chuck. How you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm going to pause you for a second and let Frames finish his thought here. He was right in the middle of something. Go ahead, Frames.
yeah. So I was talking about if you remember the year before Z9 came out, the complaint about Nikon was exactly the opposite. They said, "Hey, we don't have 1.2 lenses. We don't have 2.8
Yeah.
telephoto long, very long telephoto lenses like 400 or 600 right?
Yeah.
So then you have the Z. I think what Nikon needs a little bit more balance in their camera lineup right now, and they had that imbalance starting 2018 to I think 2021 when they didn't have enough pro lenses. So I think it's a matter of time. That's all.
Well, yeah, everything's about time. But I mean, look, again, this is where, and it's a good thing I don't run Nikon. I understand that. So I may be completely wrong, but it doesn't matter. It's in my heart. It's what I believe and what I think. Uh, the Z9 came out and it was the all rounder and it was actually pitched. Of course, there was sports in the pitch. There was wildlife in the pitch for the Z9, but also video and portrait work, or however you want to look at it. And then after that, it's like Nikon forgot all about everything except for wildlife. I'm not even, not even sports took second seat to wildlife. Well, that's fine for everybody that's a wildlife shooter. But if they had gone down the road of everything they were marketing towards was portraits, because it can be used as a portrait camera, or here you go, the evil video. If all their motivation had been put into marketing video, you think that the sports and wildlife shooters would have been happy?
Do you know where Nikon makes the highest amount of margin?
Where?
What kind of the wildlife kit, the wildlife stuff? You the highest amount of money there.
No, you know what? I can probably
No, no,
see that.
I'm
I can see that.
I'm quoting you what was told to me. I'm
Yeah,
telling you what.
well, I can see that. But then if that's the case, they, and the lenses they put out this year are just fantastic. Can I afford it? No. Can 90% of the people that shoot Nikon afford it? No. So it was wonderful that they put these lenses out. But everybody else, all the people with money in their hands, were left sitting in their chair waiting.
Yeah, that's a problem. But see, I think we're talking about a time when Nikon could produce only so many units, and if they had to prioritize, they would probably prioritize things that are far more high value for them than, because they can't produce so many Z90s, for example, because and with the upcoming COVID scare in China again, I'm hearing that we're going to get into another acute uh, shortage sort of period era months. We're looking at staring at that period again.
Yeah,
It's a
and
consistent
everybody, and we've been going over that for the last year, talking about production capability or whatever. I don't know how to fix it. I really don't. I don't have an answer for it. I mean, the answer for me is easy: borrow money, build more production capability. Well, that sounds ridiculous, and everybody will tell me it does. It sounds ridiculous to me. But if you have a company that is on the verge of becoming so much larger, which it could, in my opinion, are you saying that, you know what, we're happy right here? We're happy. We're happy with just the amount of sales that we can actually get, the amount of equipment that we can actually produce. Is that what Nikon is saying? They don't want to be any bigger?
I don't know. I just want to bash Canon.
All right, buddy. Okay. All right, let's get Joe in here. Joe, what do you got to say, man?
Hey, Joe.
Oh, lost your audio. I lost your audio. Nope. No audio. No audio.
Give him some time.
I know, but I want to make sure he can still hear us as he works through it. Yeah, you were fine in the beginning. I don't know where your audio went.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, there you are.
Okay, it's probably not sounding too good. Hold on, let me just see if I can get my headset to work here. 1 second.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Does it sound better?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good. All right, hold on. I'm just gonna switch my sound here. Sorry, just 1 second. I was
All right.
Just trying to get this set up. Oh God. All right, there we go. Switch the audio on here because it makes more sense for you to take the headset off if it's not even working. There, can you guys hear me?
Yep. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right.
Perfect.
We're fucking the Bose speaker, so I hope it's not too bright.
Okie dokie.
What's
Yeah,
up?
well, anyways, just to piggyback on what you guys were saying, I definitely was really impressed when they came out with the 28-2.8 pancake and the 40-2.8. I wish they carried some more lenses on that sort of thread because they were awesome lenses. They were very compact. If you had a bigger camera, it really made it nice and light. And I think I'd say go into 2023 if they could come up with a zoom lens that was full frame that kind of matched that sort of set, that would be really great. Or at least an 85-2.8 would be a start.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's basically what we were just talking about too. Well, what we're talking about is Nikon's catered to the pros forever, and every brand's going to do that. I get that, but do you do it to the point that you're actually excluding the bread and butter consumers in your customer base, and far more people than pros are buying all this equipment, to include some of these very high priced telephoto lenses. I would venture to say there are probably as many hobbyists buying those as there are professionals, because professionals buy what they need. They have to justify it. They have to look at their budgets and everything else. And if it makes sense, then of course they'll purchase. Hobbyists don't have to do that. They're not on that kind of budget. It's not the survival of a business. It's, I want it. Do I have the money? Yes, I get it. And far more sales with us idiots that do that than any professionals out there. But the professionals seem to, and they weigh in so often too about what Nikon should do, shouldn't do, or whatever. Why? Because they know the cameras better than we do. They know them better than I do, but that's not saying much.
I 100% disagree with you,
All right, go ahead.
because you are defining professional by use case, right? Not by equipment. I don't know the right way to define. So you buy Z8 is not prosumer camera. Z8 is going to be a pro camera. I mean, I think I would argue that even Z7 too is a pro camera. But
Okay.
Z30 isn't. So they did do the Z30 this year.
Well, according
The
to
ZS
the people that argue with me all the time, any camera's a pro camera.
No, you're right.
You
You're right.
can't
You're right.
take a photo with what you have. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you're
It's
talking about a certain. Yeah. But
Oh, I've got
we-
weird
I
stuff.
think how. So I think what you're saying really is a kind of cameras, a bunch of cameras that are within, let's say, 500 to 1500 US dollars, and something that will not pack everything that Nikon can offer, and it's really targeted to attract the belly of the market, right? Now, for example, if you look at enthusiast, what I have understood about enthusiast is that um, hobbyists are actually gear snobs. Okay, the Z30 buyer is not a gear snob at all. They're just getting started. It's a different kind of market for uh, compared to the advanced gear snobs who easily pick up a 51.2, not because he's doing a job, but because he loves what he gets out of it, because he wants to talk about it, he feels good about it. So you have to also cut the market like that. Now, if you look at it, your wildlife photographers don't sell. I mean, they don't sell their product. They're mostly hobbyists,
Yes.
not pros. But and you're right. I think somewhere pros, the photojournalists and sports guys, they're kind of left out. Whether or not, I mean, they would
Well,
rather not.
that's just it. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I got to interrupt you for a second
Yeah, yeah.
because
No,
we
no.
need to determine what professional is. I have a different definition of professional than so many other people do. You can provide professional results without being a professional. To me, professional is just that: somebody that makes their living based on whatever art or skill that they're applying. And to me, that's a professional. Everybody else is a hobbyist or whatever. You might shoot as well as far as photography goes. You may shoot as well as a professional, but like you said, if you're not selling your wares and earning money from it, then you're not a professional. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just
Because
piggybacking on what you're saying, Chuck. It's the same thing for me. Like I work full time in marketing for an energy company here in Alberta, and shooting is a part of what I do. It's not everything that I do, but I do a lot of content creation for their social and some of their web ads. So it's a neat question. Like, what is professional? Because I use my Z6 for arguably professional grade work, but it's not the main facet of my job, right? It's just part of it. So yeah, it's tricky defining like what's professional versus hobby. It's tricky.
Yeah, so and that's what makes it so difficult in these conversations. When we get into these conversations about gear, pro build, prosumer, pro bodies, pro whatever. So yeah, go ahead. Well, wait a minute. Let's hear from the rock and roll photographer, Vahagan.
What's good, guys?
Well, we're learning what's good. That's for certain.
so Chuck, what I want to understand is whether Vahagan actually voice modulates, because he's got this thundering voice coming in from what's good, guys?
How's it going?
It's going.
Whenever you get close to your microphone, you sound like NPR on steroids.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good, everyone. It's so good.
Hey, Chuck, does it sound normal or is it?
No, it sounds good. Sounds normal.
Hey, you're sounding great.
It's just when you get up on the microphone and you're in NPR land, then you got to talk like this. Everybody would like to know your view, Vahagan.
my view is rock and roll. Hey, Frames. Joe Man's Land. What's up, man? Nice sweater.
Thanks, appreciate it. How you doing?
Hey, Joe, have you spoken before in comment section somewhere?
Yeah, I usually leave a whole plethora of wrong comments like FTZ2 is totally as good as Z-mount lenses. Like, that's kind of the world.
Oh, man. Hey, Nancy brings up a good point here, and I've said this for a long time. When you go watch all the Nikon ambassadors or Canon searchers of light or whatever it is, and Sony so-and-so, whatever, all the ambassadors for all brands, and they're plugging a lens or something, and you think, man, look at that. Look at those photos, all four of them that, he or she presented in this ad for this lens. Aren't they fantastic? How many photos did they take to get those for? And nobody ever asked that question. This is why people don't trust so much anymore. Ambassadors, show me, show me Vahagan giving me some photos of a wedding using the lens. Show me Frames TM out shooting street photography with that lens. Show me Joe Man's Land doing his thing with that lens. And I'm going to believe you all before I believe them. I mean, what do you think?
Chuck, how do you know all the photos that you saw on my XT5 review? How do you know that they were taken with the XT5?
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
But
so, really, reviews, as far as reviews go, it's very difficult to, unless you ask to upload the raw files.
How do we know that the ambassadors are taking it with that lens, actually? I don't know. Yeah. We just assume they are, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Probably not using Canon.
Yeah.
That'd be a very Canon thing to do. Like some guy, a lifer, 40 years using Nikon, after all of it just says, by the way, all the images you all worshipped, it's Canon. That would be heartbreaking.
Yeah, this is why I'm not a Nikon or I'm not an NPS member right here, because I can't show that I earn money with my cameras or whatever. That's going to change, though, because I just got rid of my S Corp and just opened an LLC, AP Studios LLC. So now I'm going to jump through that hoop that they have, that little catch-22. But anyway, yeah.
What I want to know.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I want to know is, how warm that fireplace is keeping Joe.
Oh, it's so good. Well, today it's really, really hazy out. So I was planning on doing my Super Takamar review, and I was looking out there like, man, like this, like there just isn't a good day to do it. So I think I'm just gonna do it anyways and be like, it looks good in this lighting. Imagine what it could be if you actually waited a day till it was clear.
Hey, which one is this? Which one is this Super Takuma?
It's the Super Takamar 1.4. I just borrowed it from a buddy, so I'm gonna take it out today.
Is it a 55 or 58?
50. 51.4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take it out.
It's for that. For that, it's that bubble bokeh lens.
I hope so. I don't know. I've actually never used this. Borrowed it from a buddy of mine who spends way too much money on vintage glass. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it performs.
I mean,
my fiance was like, "Stop buying lenses. Just borrow them from someone." I was like, "Perfect. Why not?"
It's supposed to be a legend of a lens. So yeah.
Hey, Joe man, you and Frames got to collaborate, man.
Yeah. Anyway,
Have you heard Joe man's impersonations?
no, I'm gonna just find him. What's it called on YouTube? What's it called?
Joe man's land.
Oh, okay.
It's right next to No Man's Land. It works.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I found you. Okay, all right.
So yeah, I'll look for you 2 frames.
Yeah, everybody's commenting on your head on fire there, Joe. It is pretty cool.
Well, so I have my Windows switch plugged in there right now, and I was like, man, like I probably shouldn't.
I just thought maybe that's why you wanted to get on the show. You were on fire, man. You wanted to really light it up about some topic.
Well, over Christmas, my bank account was on fire, but it's not a good thing.
Light it up.
That's all of us. That's all of us. I just hope everybody had a nice Christmas or holiday. Hey guys, hang on a second. Don't burn the house down. Pun intended. I got to run to the little boys' room. Be right back.
Okay, let's talk about Nikon marketing while he's gone. All right, so I'm just kidding.
Frames TM, man, how the heck you been, man?
I did so much Fuji stuff, man. I loved it. Yeah, I mean, just this is how I would rank colors. I think Nikon is number one, and I let me tell you, I did check Canon R5, Nikon Z9, Z6 II, Z30, Z50, and then Fuji, Sony A7 IV. Sony is the last. I mean, it's number 4. Then comes Canon. Canon and Fuji very close. Fuji is better, and then Nikon is this. Undoubtedly, it's so beautiful, the skin tone out of Nikon. And just using these cameras the last I think 2-3 weeks, like at the same time, like I had all these cameras with me at the same time. It's really opened my eyes. I'm so happy that I sort of put my money in the right systems, which is most of it is in Nikon, and then in Fuji, and then some in Sony.
Yeah.
So, Frames, you tell me you don't like Sony's fluorescent skin tones, and they're very
Oh,
so pretty.
oh.
You can shoot something like that, and like, oh, it's like a James Cameron film. This is Avatar. This is great. No color.
It makes a good-looking guy look ugly, and imagine what it does to me. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, I look handsome on a Sony camera. I'm like, man, I don't need this at all. This is great.
You guys
No,
didn't
but-
know. You guys didn't know
but Joe-
Sony rocks.
no, come on. No, but Joe, I'll tell you. So on I think on white skin, you still have you still have that room for this thing for Sony, but for Asian skin, no, it just looks bad. It doesn't look good.
Speaking of Canon, I know you were trashing Canon Frames. I like some of the Canon skin tones.
Yeah. They have that magenta reddish tone.
They got
Which
that
is-
tone, that I like sometimes in certain
I
situations.
felt it was a bit too much. I found that Nikon, it's far more pleasing and but neutral yet. But Canon was a bit too much on the. It was overdoing. I felt.
Yeah, different situations. I mean, when you're shooting natural light portraits, I think Canon really does well with that skin tone.
So Nancy, I always shoot in sRGB. Long Rider. Oh, here you go with this bullshit color science stupidity. But it's Long Rider. It's true. I mean, hello. I can do a video with all the four systems shooting at the same time in their standard profile and same white balance. It's just you can't. I mean, it's difficult to get the colors right. It's difficult to get
Long Rider is a Sony guy.
look like how I want it to look like on a Sony, because there's a lot more imbalance on Sony's. Like if you get the blues right or the greens right, the red channel is off. The red tends like tilts towards what it almost becomes pinkish. Something it becomes something else. It's very difficult to balance the colors.
You know what I like about Sony? I like Sony that they always innovate tech. Like they're always bringing in this new
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
that somebody was doing something with the Sony. I was like, wow, this is cool that this camera actually has this feature. I forgot what it was now, so it mustn't have been that cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, whatever floats your boat, guys. Sony, Canon, Fuji, Nikon, Hasselblad, Pentax, Leica, whatever you
So
like.
Long Rider, so there's this video done by I Am Tongue, his new channel Fuji guy, and he was comparing. He what he did was he used a Fuji X-T5, and he found a software, a program or something like that, and he applied that on the A7 IV to match the film simulations on Fuji X-T5, and he put the pictures side by side. Despite the YouTube compression, I could pick all the Fuji pictures as Fuji pictures. I could see the difference. And even when I go through Instagram stuff, other people's work, I can always understand what's shot with, especially what's shot with Sony, because Sony gives you that slightly brownish tint on golden sunsets, for example. Okay. And Fuji will give you slightly turquoise look for the sky, blue sky. So it's discernible. It's not like you can't see a difference, or you can see it if you're used to looking at those pictures.
Long Rider sounds like Jared Polin
No,
when he
he,
said when
I
he
mean,
said about the color science thing.
yeah, because he must have figured it out, because he's been using Sony for a long time. For him, it must be easy. For me, it's not. It's a lot more work for me to figure out what to do with the Sony colors than with Nikon. That's all.
It was funny. I forget which guy's channel I was watching, but I was wanting to try to get like a flat, like really flat color tone in 8-bit for my Z6. I didn't feel like spending the $200 to send it off to the factory to get it unlocked. So I tried downloading this guy's like preset flat color profile, and I thought, oh, this is gonna make my LUTs so much better. And my videos just looked like flat pastel colors for like 3 weeks, and I finally had to give up on it. I don't know, coloring, like color science is definitely like tricky, and like it's something I'm looking to really get better at in the new year, is like not leaning on the camera so much and trying to do it more myself. But I tried earlier this year, it was just bad.
Hey, I want to interject something here.
You just came back.
I know, and I'm breaking the train of thought on everybody right now.
You don't even know what train of thought it was.
Doesn't matter. Anybody that's going to get into video, I want you to understand how important it is. You don't skip on audio. Look at the stream today. Audio is everything in video. I know that sounds crazy, but without audio, you can have the best video in the world and bad audio, and nobody cares. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to suffer through it. And
Nikon has a real in-camera mic.
I'm not picking on anybody's audio. I'm just bringing up a point that if you're going to invest in video, you really want to get into video, then you have to invest in audio. You have to. All right.
Which is why Sony as a vlogging system is wonderful, because their inbuilt mics are really good.
Well, I don't know. I can't answer that, but I can answer this. I do like the audio in the Z9, and I'm not just doing it to plug the Z9, but the audio in camera with the microphone system that they have now actually works extremely well. I'm not
It's better than
saying
5.5.
Yeah,
5.5 it should.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you should skimp on audio if you have a Z9 and think that, well, now I can skip on audio. No, you cannot. But it is actually pretty good. But the point is that audio is as important as the video. So please, when you invest in a camera to do video, invest in some audio equipment to go along with it. All right, that's my public service announcement for those that want to get into video. Back
That
to
was
the
so random.
Go ahead. What?
I said that was so random. You just came and said, "Let me tell you guys, you should invest in audio."
Yes.
Where did it come? Where did it come from? Okay.
You are watching Chuck Talks, AP Studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And for some videos, NPR type audio is fantastic.
Well, my
Yeah, but
favorite thing is when people start doing like the David Attenborough impression on top of their stupid talk.
Yeah.
Look, the people have turned. Now the photographer comes out to 70 to 300, 4.5, travel lens that's slower than shit. He takes the photo. It's
Slower than crap.
Exactly.
There you go. Crap.
Hey,
All right.
but you know, I really found one question very interesting from Nancy, and she asked, "Do you guys shoot in sRGB or Adobe?" So what's the implication, and what do you guys do? Do you guys shoot? Anyone shoots in Adobe? Color profile in camera?
I do sRGB most of the time.
How does Lightroom render? Is it in the sRGB profile or Adobe profile? Especially when you're taking.
You can choose any. I think the Adobe it's got more colors, but I think most of the screens can't show you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So it does make a difference as to what you're shooting for. For me, it's easy. I shoot for social media. I'm not gonna lie. Nobody's hiring me to, shoot the menu for their new restaurant, or, Coca-Cola called me once and asked if I would do a spread for their new products, and I turned them down.
Wow.
Yeah, of course. You believe that, right? I am getting ready to bore people with my portfolio. I don't have a portfolio. I have photos spread across multiple individual hard drives, and I'm putting them all on my new system now. And I'm going to drag a bunch of terrible photos out that I call my best and let everybody just tear it up. Since I do still get an odd email from time to time asking me, where's my work? Evidently, you have to have a portfolio to have a talking head show. So,
hey Chuck, can I get Joe Mansland? Can I get Joe Mansland 10 subscribers right now?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, everybody in the chat, open another window. Go to Joe Mansland. Check out his content. Really cool, really fresh. Young dude shooting Nikon. Go for it. Do it. Calgary, cold, snow, hail, rain, and a lot of excitement with Nikon cameras. So go ahead and Joe Mansland, go ahead and give him a subscriber right now, guys. Right now.
Thanks, Bob. And temper those expectations. Like they're realistic videos. Like, the production quality isn't quite at the NPR levels that Hagen's at. It's more like I will strap this into the cold shoe, and then we just see what we kind of get. Like it's very much running gun.
Yeah, I just saw your videos. Actually.
Yeah, well, the thing with downtown Calgary, and it's kind of a shame. There's certain areas you just can't go by yourself as a photographer, and I'm sure you guys have that in your own cities as well.
No. Everywhere you go is safe here.
Yeah, right. When I shoot my review with this camera, I mean, it's not going to be. I'm not going to have to worry about it. They're going to.
Oh, the 995. Is that the 995?
Yeah, I think so. I was free at the camera store. They were just, no, it's a cool pick.
Yeah, it's a cool Pix 995.
Yeah, thing is decrepit. But anyways, it's just one of those things that's just kind of hard to do it. So I usually just run around running. And I had this one guy who's like, why don't you use a tripod? I'm like, because Dawn of the Dead's out there. And like, I don't want my gear to get robbed, right? Like, So it's one of those things. It's just that's
Really,
fun.
it's that way in Calgary too.
Downtown for sure. I mean, if it's
Really?
during the daytime, it's not too bad. But if you're wanting to do like low light stuff and you don't have a buddy with you, it's not great. I have a guy I shoot with pretty regularly, so it's not super bad. But I don't know. It's
I
just
thought everybody's cheery and happy in Canada. No
of
problem.
course, all of us. It's a nation of happy people. There's no important. Yeah, the truckers didn't start in Alberta. Of course not. Yeah, when I was living overseas, that was the first thing someone said to me. They're like, "Hey, are you from Alberta?" I was like, "Do you like pipelines?" They're like, "No, we heard the convoy started with you." I was like,
Man, back in '99, last time I was in Canada was in 1999. And it was such a good place to visit. I went up to Ontario and Niagara Falls and stuff. Clean
Okay.
town. Yeah, that's a 2 or 4 megapixel camera, right?
"Oh yeah."
That's a 995, I think.
Potentially. I don't even know what this thing is. It was just
It's a point and shoot. Yeah.
there was a whole bunch of cameras they were getting rid of at the camera store. It was just like freebies, and I was just like, all right, cool, no problem. I got this one for free, and then this weird. I think this one's. This one's 8 megapixels. I mean, that's just quality you can trust. Like, well,
I just saw
with it.
I just saw a video pop up. I didn't go watch it, but I saw it pop up. Are video cameras making a comeback?
Oh.
You know the old whatever little Sony handheld or camcorders. Are camcorders making a comeback? Evidently not, because that's the only thing I've seen that even mentioned camcorders in the last 5 years. So, hey, so
I think it was at. I must have also. Yeah.
I titled this with Nikon Boomer Bust in 2022. So what I want to do is I want to go around the panel here, and I want you guys to tell me boom or bust for not just Nikon. And I want you to be honest when you talk about, even though we have specific biases, Canon, frames.
I'm a very objective person. I know bias.
But I want to go.
I want to buy the Canon R6 Mark II, and I'm a stupid guy.
I just want to go around the horn and you tell me boom or bust for Nikon, for Sony, for Canon, for Fuji, and we'll leave it at that right now. I'll start it off here with we'll start it off with you, Frames. Nikon boom or bust in 2022.
No. Let Ragan start.
All righty then. All right. Well, we're expecting a big year for Nikon for sure. If we don't get what we're expecting,
AV, we'll get to 2023 and we're going to do the same thing. But right now, just because that's going to be based on what we expect. But
you want a
2022, 2022 Nikon boom or bust.
Oh, 2022. I thought it was 2023. Yeah. Okay. I think it was a boom year, and many reasons why. You want me to kind of get into it?
Well, you quickly go through why you think it was a boom year. Yeah.
The Z9 was a big hit. The telephoto TCs, I mean, crazy lenses. We got a lot of good things coming out of Nikon. And the cameras rock. I mean, I definitely think it was a boom year. But we want more. We expect more, and we will get more.
I'm looking at my other screen over, trying to figure out what went wrong. Okay, sorry. Boom year. So Vaughan says boom year for Nikon. Joe Man, boom or bust for Nikon 2022.
I'm on the fence. Like a lot of the lenses and TCs that came out, like at least for me, like I wouldn't use them, but I can definitely see them being like really great for a lot of nature shooters, wedding photographers. So I think boom for lenses, maybe a bit of a bust for bodies. I would have loved to have seen a more hybrid camera come out that utilizes the autofocus from the Z9. I think in terms of camera bodies, bust, but in terms of lenses, I could see it being a boom for more professional grade telephotos for sure.
Okay. All right.
Oh yeah. Wait. I'll have to kind of second Joe's, answer. I think for bodies, you're right. We got a Z30, and which was not what I was expecting. But for lenses, yeah, I could see that.
You also got ZSC Black.
What was that?
ZFC Black.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Z30.
All right. So there you have it. We also got the ZFC Black. Okay, so frames, boom or bust for Nikon in 2022.
So, context always. So in 2000, um, we finished 2021 with Z9, and the entire year was about, oh, Nikon is going down, they're going to shut shop, all that, right? So the context was, is there going to be a reversal of Nikon's fate or the trajectory of the company? Have we all invested all our money in the right company, or yeah, right? So that was the question at the beginning of 2000, I think last year, this year. And I think with the success of Z9 and how it has really topped all the flagships, A1 and R3, I think so that one big thing was taken care of. That whole perception about, I think it shut up a lot of people, and that's important, right? It shut up a lot of people. But what has happened is that, what they did, what Nikon did, is create an opportunity for optimism, positivity, and it kept getting a lot of the old customer base back, right? So that's all good. But then a lot of people started asking questions because they've now grown impatient. So I think by October to December, they have lost a bit of ground they gained in the early part of the year. So I won't. So they have taken 10 steps forward and have gone 4 steps backward, because they should have really launched at least one camera, at least a Z8, and they could have given a bit of breather between the Z8 launch and the Z6 III launch and Z7 III launch. And now next year you have to cram all those launches within 12 months, and then there are lenses, and it just doesn't sound like a very solid strategy. I'm just looking at it from sales point of view, because you're then giving too many options to the whole market at the
Yeah.
same time, and you have to manage so many products.
So
It just
boom
doesn't. Or
or bust.
so it's somewhere. I think it's boom
Okay.
bust. It's a bit of a.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So to throw my 10 cents
Yeah.
worth in, I'm just going to grab Yaman's comment here because he said it earlier and I agreed 100% with him. Sony and Fuji, well, we'll just set them aside for a minute, Yaman, but Nikon is a boom for super telephotos and Z9 only. And for everybody else, a bust. And I agree with that 100%. 100%. For birders and wildlife photographers, and I'll even throw in sports and action photographers. It was a boom because they got a Z9 if they could afford to buy it, and they got some extraordinary super telephoto and telephoto lenses if you can afford to buy them. But I think that excludes a huge part of the consumer base for Nikon, and I think it was a bust for everybody else. In my opinion, that's all.
Jay
All right.
Jay says unless you're a Z9 user, 2022 was a bust.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100% because, the Z9 got all the attention. I think they tried to pour all their attention in it. Nikon did try to pour all their attention into the Nikon to make the Z9 to make the Z9 the best camera that anybody could have at the moment. Yeah, sure, everybody's going to come out with something, next year after that's going to, drop the Z9 back down a peg, and that's understandable. And we want that. I want that because that just pushes Nikon to go back to the table and start making the next iteration even better. All right. So that's the way I see it. I think it was a bust for the majority of the Nikon users because they can't even brag about anything because they don't have a 600 f4 TC. They don't have a Z9. So we'll get to next year in just a minute. So that's my thoughts on it. I don't think it was a big boom year for Nikon. How about
Chuck, if I could just throw one thing in there, though. One thing that was good that they did do for all the other users were the updates to the Z6, Z7.
No, be
bodies.
careful. Be careful. You're gonna stir up a riot because
No.
the two folks are not going to agree with that at all. It was a
Yeah, the
bust.
two folks, but the Z1 users.
Yes.
It was the autofocus release of the FTZ2
No,
adapter did improve.
I actually agree with Joe 100%, and I don't agree with Chuck this time with you, because I'm not looking at it from user segment point of view at all. I'm looking at it holistically from Nikon's point of view. Nikon Nikon could have not done everything this year. They could have not done it. So they had to make a choice, and they have taken a choice. Now, as an individual consumer, you may say that their decisions this year was not uh, didn't make me happy personally for my purchase decisions, but that's a very narrow way of looking at Nikon's plan in 2022. The question that you asked is it was it boom or bust for Nikon, not for the portrait photographer who wants a 1.2 lens. If you ask me that question, I'll tell you, yeah, it was a bust. But what's the question?
No,
Is it for
it's for
Nikon or the guy
Nikon.
who's...
It's for Nikon, period.
Yeah, so if it's for Nikon, they couldn't have done it. I think the kind
Well,
of lenses
it,
they launched.
it's
No, 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 sorry. One second. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. See, let's appreciate the lenses that they have launched. They're complex machinery, very complex. And I'm telling you, Canon will take a couple of more years to figure those lenses out. Most of the telephoto lenses are not great, and people have complained that they've just taken the DSLR lenses and put a sort of they've adjusted for the flange distance, and that's it. Which means that it's difficult, mighty difficult to build those lenses. Or that they've done it, they're done with that
no,
job.
yeah.
Now look at the rest of the job. No. I still want to let me look at the rest of the job. What are we talking about? Trickling down the Z9 tech into the smaller bodies? It's easy. That's not
Well,
really.
you're
That's not a
making my
real
point
challenge.
here. It is easy. Why not? So
Yeah,
anyway, no, I will.
but that
I
answer
will
that
agree with
none
you.
of
They
these
had
things are.
moments. Nikon had moments, and they had moments that they didn't actually pursue and continue with. And instead, we got caught up in the bird war. I mean, the bird wars of 2022. It's going to go down in history. The bird shooter
Now,
wars.
can I say something that Joe
Yeah,
mentioned about the updates?
yeah.
Uh, you guys got to realize that the Z9 has an incredible processor, a processor that's maybe a lot, like 10, 20 times better than a Z6, Z7. So we're not going to get the performance out of your older Z cameras like the new technology is. You can improve somewhat, but I think that older processor has its limitations, and it
100%.
shows the
No,
limitations. But
I agree with you. And I'll tell you this, that I think that the firmware update for the Z6 that I have brought it up on par with the Z6 II. The only limitation the Z6 II has, I mean, that the Z6 has over the Z6 II is 2 card slots. I'll tell you that right now, because I think the AF is as good as the Z6 II with that
yeah,
update.
well, then
Okay,
again,
okay.
If you're not shooting birds or
Well,
anything
I mean,
fast
all across the
action,
board. I
no.
think the AF update in it for whatever you're shooting.
I
I'm
mean,
not just
Yeah.
talking about birds. Go ahead.
if you're shooting something that really like portraits doesn't move, weddings, even weddings, you're fine with the Z6s, man. You're
No,
fine with those cameras.
Z6 is great in many situations. I mean, it's really good. But Vagan, I don't think we can forgive Nikon for not giving a firmware update, promised expected firmware update to the Z6 II and Z7 II, because you know what? Your old iPhone 10R runs iOS 16. You have to tweak the software for the hardware. You're pushing the software firmware update too. That's all. Don't tell me that just because Z6 2 has two XP6 processors, they can't take an update. That's not true at all. You have to write
Yeah.
the software differently. That's all.
Well, we're so Vahagen's right. We're not going to get the performance of a XP 7
But
processor
we could get
in
something out of it, right? We could still get something out of it.
yeah, I understand that. But my question is boom or bust. I still go with leaning more to bust because I think that the majority of the consumer base was left in the cold. And that's just the way I feel. And we could talk all day long on why and list point by point by point. But I think the Nikon consumer, the majority of the consumer base was left in the cold. My opinion, man, I may be wrong. Probably am, but that's the way I feel.
Hey,
Well,
can we take a minute just real quick to appreciate Chuck Talks at AP
Yeah.
Studio? No, I'm serious, man. Can we appreciate this guy, what he's
mm,
doing, his commitments, his live streams? Guys, it takes a lot to do these things in a consistent basis. Chuck, my hat's off to you, brother.
well,
You're doing a
thank you.
great job. I love what you're doing here. Love the community, and it really shows you're growing. And man, I'm here, and I love it. I love being here. You rock, brother. Rock and
Well,
roll.
thank you. Thank you, man. There are many that will disagree, but I appreciate that, Vog, and coming from you, so I do appreciate it. So I just wanted to do the boomer bust for Nikon. I want to do it for let's go to Sony, and if you want to add a little bit to what your reasoning behind either boomer bust, that's fine as well. But Joe, boomer bust for Sony this year, and if you don't know that much about what Sony's done, that's fine. I mean, just your
Yeah.
perception.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely not a connoisseur of Sony as much, so I can't I don't
Right.
know a ton about Sony, but just from their advertising and some of the zoom lenses that they revamped this year, I would say it was definitely a boom, at least from that side. When was the A9 released? I can't remember.
That's a couple of years ago.
Okay, yeah, okay. So what did they really do anything with bodies this year? I wasn't really following along.
Just one.
Well,
Oh, they
Well,
had that.
no.
Didn't they have that? The FX30 as well.
Yep, they had
Okay.
the FX30, the A7R5 just dropped, and a
Okay.
couple of their small, entry level kind of vlogging cameras too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
okay, that's pretty good. I mean, yeah, I think I definitely would say they did more than Nikon that way, at least in terms of bodies then. But yeah, I'll leave it there. I don't want to speak to it because I don't know that much about Sony. but-
Okay. No, it's an honest answer, man. So, what do you think, Frames? Boom or bust for Sony?
I mean, a very good year for Sony. They launched quite a few very interesting APS-C lenses, which tells us that they're going to have a fantastic year next year with APS-C. They have planned something big for APS-C next year. That's one thing. I think they cracked the new body format. As in, if you look at A7R4, it's a new design. A7R5 as well, it's a new design. The flip out screen was that's exactly what I want on a Z8, frankly speaking.
Mhm.
And better color signs on the A7R4, right? A7R A7R5, the much better color signs, more saturation, more neutral. They don't have the green cast on the coming from the new camera.
That's what
So
I'm
overall,
hearing.
yeah, overall, and as usual, every year, the Sony mount is very well supported by Sigma and Tamron. So there you go.
Okay, all right, it's fair evaluation. And all right, Vaughan, boom or
Well,
bust for Sony this
Isn't
year?
it all? Isn't it always boom for Sony? Like honestly, no. If you look at if you really look at their marketing, I
Yeah.
mean, from a strictly marketing campaign point of view, they're doing some crazy. I'm not even talking about cameras because I don't use Sony, but I mean, judging from what I see, I mean, I'm honestly I'm not a big fan of Sony glass. Not a big fan of. Sorry, Long Rider. But I see what we're doing. I see what they're doing with the A7R5. It's a great camera, and it's definitely boom year. I mean, they're selling units. They're doing great. But I have a question for Frames. That A7R5 screen, the flip
Yeah.
screen. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit, briefly talk a little bit more about it? I want to know what makes it special because I've heard a lot of things about that flippy screen.
So I think it's a photographer's camera, but if the photographer today wants to focus on 20% of the time, if he wants to do video, and if he wants to talk to the camera, he can do that. So I think that's it's just the right sort of, it can be one camera that you take out for your wildlife, and or not. I mean, it's a wildlife. It's um nature photography.
No, but it has these features on
All
the
that.
flip screen that is
Yeah,
new.
yeah. Now at the same time, if you want to also do video, for example, you can. I mean, talking heads videos, you can do that. It just you can vlog with it. So I think that format is exciting. You can do everything. You're not sacrificing one type of shooting for the other type of shooting. That's all.
It's a good
It's
hybrid shooter.
yeah. It really it's a true hybrid shooter. I mean, finally we have an answer to this whole divide between, oh, do I want a tilt screen or do I want a fully articulated screen? I think that question is resolved by Sony A7R5.
Oh yeah, and let me add that the box video cameras that Sony have,
Yeah,
they're hits, and I want Nikon to kind of come out with their own FX3.
yeah.
Hey, folks, I'm looking at your comments over here in the chat room. You guys can vote right along with what you think, and I know most of you are. So just letting you know that I am watching. Hey, Robert, good to see you in here, Mr. Robert Daniels. All right, so there you have it, and yeah,
So
I
I think the
agree.
next one,
I think Sony's done a good job again yet this year of getting bodies out, and without going into the long, they're a larger company and all that, but I think they've done a good job this year and giving people plenty. And in the Sony camp, even Long Riders said this before, it's almost too much to choose from, and
Hey, you know what?
I would agree with that.
Manny Ortiz just put out a video talking about Sony in detail.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that video really opened sort of kind of like my eyes on what these Sony cameras can do, why he uses these Sony cameras. Very good video by Manny Ortiz.
yeah, I want to watch that.
Hey,
I,
hey,
I missed mentioning one launch from Sony.
yeah.
That was the dedicated AI chip in the Sony A7R4, and you're going to see that coming in all of the cameras.
Yep,
So
you're right. And
it's a product in itself.
that's
AI.
an innovation. That's another innovation. Yep. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with it because they don't want to hear about AI, but that's a topic for another discussion. So this is just about boom or bust in 2022. Phil, I know you're defending Nikon tooth and nail over there. I'm a Nikon shooter, brother. I'm with you, but I want to be honest and talk about, was it boom or bust? Nikon has a boom year for birders and wildlifers with a pocket full of money. I mean, am I lying? Am I saying anything incorrect there?
I can totally understand where Phil is coming from. I think
Yeah.
Nikon have done a wonderful job, and these lenses, they're not. I mean, any other company would have launched one of these lenses in a year, in 1 year. They've taken 4 years to launch these lenses. Nikon have done it in 1 year. Fantastic.
Here you go. And this, talking to Brian here. Brian, by the way, is a Sony shooter. A buddy called him asking him a bunch of questions about Sony. He's switching to Sony or Canon from Nikon, and I told him to hold on. And I think that's a good thing to tell somebody right now is hold on, because we're at the cusp of, a complete new season coming up as far as gear goes, and the beginning of the season is always gear heavy, which I know a lot of people aren't going to like, because we'll be talking about some of that as it comes up. But you have to talk about it, because without the gear, we're not taking photos, even if it's old gear. All right, I'll throw that in there. It doesn't have to be new gear.
One reminder of what Vagan keeps talking about. Why do you all love Nikon? We all love Nikon because the primary reason is because they're an optics company. They make lenses that no one can. Right, so they have done that job. I'm sorry, I'm going back to it again.
No, go ahead.
I love Nikon because Frames likes Nikon.
Yeah.
I like Nikon because I started with Nikon and I continue to use Nikon, but I am one of those people that will say there's no bad camera out there. There may be a camera that has something that you like better than, better than another. I get that, but it's just, I started with Nikon. I like Nikon. I always like the Nikon colors. And I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody else's colors. I'll let everybody else speak about that or whatever, if that's the case. But I don't have any desire to change. I mean, is that wrong? And is that everybody should feel the same way. But I'm not going to put your camera down because I like my camera. I think there's the difference. Fanboyism. Yeah, huh?
You're not a Canon user, so you don't do that.
Yeah. And they should feel the same way. But unfortunately, we like to, and there's a lot of bragging that goes on. Somebody just brought that up. I can't remember who it was. And that's so true. We just want to brag about, well, I use it, and everybody else should, because I do.
Chuck, it's very easy to kind of be in the right camp and understand. When if you're investing your money in Nikon, you don't have to stress over what you're doing wrong, because it's just about a matter of time. So it's very easy not to tell others ki I'm not going to bash your camera. But
Yeah.
if you have to buy a Canon today, I
Well, and
mean,
I think a lot of the Nikon sort of draw is also the community. I think that's also a really nice thing as well. Is generally speaking, Nikon users are very excited. Like I think it was my first day shooting my Z6. I was doing just some street photography, and this guy just tapped me on the shoulder, and he had this Nikon Z shirt on. He had custom made like Z6, yes. And I was just like, no Canon user would do that. Like, no Sony user just comes up to you and is like, hey,
So,
our
so,
floor, nice.
but why do we go down? Why do we go down the path? And I'm kind of getting off the subject here. I don't want to get off the subject because this is one time I want to stick to it for a few minutes to get through it. But I mean, even here, Robert Daniels, I'd like to see imagery created by Nikon Equipment Gear, its photographer after every major sporting event. World Cup just happened. Where are the images? I don't know, but they're out there, Robert. I mean, they are out there. You probably saw some and didn't even know what camera brand took those photos,
imagine
and
You know
that
what?
that just kind of proves the point. So
I was telling you the other day, Chuck, that in this day and age with all these new cameras, image quality is really, they're about all the same. You won't be
yep,
able to tell
yep.
what camera, yeah, maybe what lens, but not what camera and stuff like that. I think it's more about the features these days and more about, video and stuff like that. Image quality, all the top cameras are great. You might argue with the color science and this and that dynamic range, but they all pretty much do a good job.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I
I
agree. I don't think that there's a bad camera out there. Honestly, I don't. And I could take any one of them and go shoot what I shoot, which isn't really strenuous. Okay. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's anything spectacular, but uh,
it's great and very politically correct to say what you just said, Vagan. But when you did the video where you shot with the D3X and Z9, anyone could have picked the D3X separately, and it has this beautiful filmic look. Like you can't miss that. I think that nuance of appreciating picture for what it is, for the colors, the texture, that's what makes us photography lovers, right? And if I
Of
don't have
course.
an eye for that, if I just gloss over that and say, yeah, all everything is the same thing, everything is similar, everyone produces the same thing. No, I don't believe that that's true at
No,
all.
no, no, no. I didn't say that. I just said, if you see a publication out in the news and some guy's kicking a soccer ball, you're not gonna. This is not an eye in the
Yeah,
zone. That's what I'm trying to say. Not
yeah.
about the
But
details.
for an aficionado, I mean, I love that video because I couldn't take my eyes off the D3X pictures. I kid
Yeah,
you
that's
not,
nice.
because I was watching it with my wife and I like, my God, look at this. And I
Yeah,
thought, should I get one? I in fact, I started looking for one because the
you need
pictures are
you
just,
need F mount glass, buddy. I think you sold
I
them
know.
already.
Yeah, but just I mean, that's that nuance, that difference, that's what make one camera brand, one camera different from the other one. That's about taste. And I think, at least for me, I pick those things up. I understand that, and I therefore I judge it on that difference.
so I got a couple of things to say here real quick on photography discourse. I agree. I'll be one of them. Of course, it'll all be water under the bridge whenever Nikon drops the Z8 and Z6 III. I agree, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to complain about it until they do, and that's just who I am, And I think a lot of people want to complain, but they don't have a platform to complain, and so some may not like me haranguing Nikon. Others do because they don't have the ability or platform, like I said, to do that. So I'm going to continue with it, but I agree with you, photography discourse. It'll all be water under the bridge when it comes out. But until then, I'm going to stay on them. I want to put what Robert Daniels dropped in here too. Mark Smith just posted a video, updated R5 shooting an Osprey and Pelican. Oh my God, I was floored. You know what though? He could have done that with any camera. You know why he got that photo? Because he was out there doing it. So I'm now supporting some of the people that aggravate me about get out and shoot. That's the whole point. You can take any camera. You could take Nikon, Canon, and Sony and Fuji. out to the shoreline with photographers behind each camera, and any one of those four or all of them could get a earth-shattering photo. It's not about the camera at that point. It's about making yourself available to catch that moment. So yeah, Mark Smith does a fantastic job with his bird photography. He's chosen a camera, but it doesn't matter. There's a Fuji shooter, right down the beach from him that got a photo just like that, but doesn't have the notoriety of Mark Smith. So I guess what I'm saying is I choose to shoot Nikon. I like Nikon for whatever reason. I can't even quantify it all the time, but I'm not switching. I don't need to switch because I don't need a better camera. I just need to go shoot my camera. But that means I'm still going to go buy the newest camera out there. So I'm an anomaly.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
When I get on Nikon's case, or when I say that Nikon needs to do this and do that, it's not personally for me. I'm fine. I mean, even if I had my Z6, then that's the only camera I was using, I'll be happy. I'll get the job done. I do have a Z9, a couple of Z6s, but when I say Nikon needs this, Nikon needs that, it's not for me personally. It's for the company. It's for the company to compete and for the company to be more successful and come out with better and bigger cameras. So that's what I'm saying, that in that point of view. Second, Frames, are you there?
Yeah.
There's two types of people that look at images. Now, in the audio world, they call them, what do you call them? Audio files?
Audio files.
Audio
Yeah.
files, where they really examine the file. They really examine what's going on. Now, yeah, you could sit there and really examine the picture and really, dissect what you see. And okay, and this comes when we talk about color science and dynamic range and all that. But and then there's the other half of, they just like a good photo. They just like a good picture. And really, they don't really look into detail too much. They don't really dissect. They don't pixel peep that much, but they like a good picture. So, yeah, it's true what you say, Frames. I mean, I'm a big fan of, telling the difference from cameras, but most of the people, they really cannot,
Hey guys, sorry to interject. I got to run. I'm checking out a wedding venue here in about 20 minutes. But thanks so much for having me, Chuck. It was great talking to you. Frames, Vahagan, pleasure as always. And hope you guys have a great new year. Hopefully you all get out and shoot, like Chuck's saying. Experience in the field and getting out there is the biggest thing. So I'm going to be doing that today and tomorrow, going up to Kananaskis. So cheers, everyone. Have a great day, and thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you, man.
You're a quitter, man. You're leaving. No,
I'm a millennial. I'm allowed to. It's fine.
No, go do what you got to do, man. Go do what you got to do. Thanks for dropping in, buddy. Thanks for dropping in.
Joe, great to talk to you.
I'll be pretty soon here, so I'll hit you up when I am.
All right.
Yeah. Good to see you, Joe. Hey, everybody, subscribe to Joe Man's Land. He's getting married, so he needs the subscriptions.
Oh.
Yeah. Any sponsorship deal. This wedding is brought to you by Nikon. We're here for you. Bye, guys.
Take care, bro. Take care, Joe. Everybody get over to Joe's channel. Give him a like and a sub. He's a good guy. Chuck, what did you just say? A Fuji shooter can do what Mark Smith can do. Balder Dash. Yeah, he can, Long Rider. I don't want to admit it, but if, Fuji shooter can do just about anything anybody else does, maybe not as easily. I'll grant you that. Maybe. But it's the right click at the right moment, and you got a award-winning photo. That could be anybody out there, even with a friggin' Instamatic camera, okay? So it's a lot easier.
Let's be honest.
I'm sorry?
Let's be honest. Fuji can't. You can't do that. You say, I'm like, it's just, why? See, I have the XT5. It has the same performance as almost the same performance as XH2S. It can't do wildlife photography as well as A7 R.
I didn't.
A7
Did I say that? Did I say that?
You suggested that.
No, I did not.
There's a physical and capability. I mean, it's all the same thing. They're two different types of cameras.
I even quantified my statement by saying not as easily. Okay. All
That
right.
that's as far as we went.
Yeah. Hmm. But all right. So we agree that Sony had a boom year. Okay. Nikon has a 50-50 split, boom bust, because half the audience got what they wanted, half the audience didn't get anything.
Yeah.
I know I'm exaggerating, but all right. So Canon, boom or bust, 2022.
Vagan, you go. I would say.
Well, definitely boom for the bodies, the lenses. I don't know. Maybe they had that 135. That looked like a good lens, but yeah.
Okay. Frames, before I let you go, I'm going to go because I know you're going to be you're going to get in depth, because I'm looking at overall for the year, the camera maker Canon. I give them a boom year too, because they had some bodies that came out this year. They seem to have they've covered the audience with different bodies and lenses and things. And I'm not saying it was a spectacular year, but it was a boom year, I think, for Canon as well. All right.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that and let you go, Mr.
So
Frames.
Canon and Nikon, they're the same. I think they had a very similar year. Again, I mean, it's you just about had the Canon R6 Mark II come out. Um, we don't have a real flagship that competes with A1 or Z9 for Canon yet. We haven't seen the R5 Mark II, and there are a lot of problems with the R5 still. You don't have a refresher of the entry level full frame bodies. You had the R10 and the R7. I mean, look, Canon again cater to one segment of people, but you're happy with Canon. You give them a boom.
Can I ask you, Frames?
Yeah.
What do you think of the Canon, the high end Canon glass?
So I used only one. I used the 85 1.2.
Well,
It, it, it
that's high end right there.
it's very high end. It's amazing,
Yeah.
and I think it's a camera that I think R5's autofocus prowess is awesome. It's not the lens. I think lens. It's a beautiful lens, but it's not the most refined lens in the sense that it's definitely, it makes a lot of noise. You have the front element moving. It's quite heavy, which is expected
The
because it's a
front
1.2.
element is moving.
Yeah,
Are you serious?
yeah.
What do you
So
mean?
I mean,
Like it
It's,
spins
it's
around?
not an internal zoom
yeah.
No, it's not a
So
zoom. It's a prime. The
or an.
8512, right?
fine, fine. So
Oh,
you
I'm
know,
sorry, I was on the wrong lens. Go ahead.
Wait.
yes.
When you say the front element moves, what do you mean by that?
So okay, how do I say? Like, have you seen the 17 to 28 2.8 from Nikon?
No.
So how it focuses is that the front element of the lens moves back and forth in order to focus.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so and so those are like those they're these are those little things that I didn't like. But overall, it makes a bit of noise as well. It's not very fast to focus. Uh, the Sony 1.250 and the Nikon 1.250 are much better, much more refined lenses than the Canon 80 1.2. So I would say that it's okay. But it's very expensive for the price. I would anyway pick up a Nikon 1.2 or a Sony on 1.2.
Mm, okay. Yeah.
All right. So I assume you're not giving them a boom year.
No, because if I go by what you said about Nikon, that they only
Mhm.
cater to wildlife shooters, it's the same for Canon. They only cater to some people. They did not cater to the wider market. It was more of an APS-C year for Canon.
They catered to the largest part of their market, though.
So what? It's still one segment.
Well, so what? I mean, that's everybody sitting in the chat right now. I
No, I'm
mean,
saying no. I mean, what if I'm a guy who's in wildlife?
so
Where is my wildlife lens?
Canon has an offering at every price point and every level right now. and some of that came out this year. So they have filled their team. Nikon has none of that. Nikon has the center on the floor playing 5 other players in the opposing team. All right. So that's part of me basing the boom or bust.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
well, look, I shoot Nikon only. And if I can't be honest and talk about Nikon, I mean, I know that we have people even in the chat that aren't going to bash their brand for whatever reason, because they either feel that it's so much better than everybody else that there's no need to call out anything in their brand.
That's not true, Chuck. The real reason is there are already people bashing Nikon. Do I need to add my voice to it? I
Well,
don't.
no. I'm not bashing it just to bash it. I'm bashing it from my point of view. Here you go. Here's an honest thing. I could care less if Nikon ever comes out with a 200 to 600 millimeter lens for me. But I know everybody, or so many other people want it. Therefore, I want it to come out as well. But if Nikon were building for me, you guys wouldn't get much of anything. You get a bunch of zooms. You wouldn't get any primes, and you wouldn't get any pancake lenses either.
Okay, Chuck.
Yeah.
But I know other people want them, so I'm all about let's see it, Nikon. Let's get it out here.
Let me come clear. Okay. Let me come clear. See, the reason the reason I'm slightly bashing, I want to slightly bash Canon today,
All right.
is because when I look at their decisions, I feel as if, despite being a market leader, I feel as if they're a bunch of people who are willing to put the customer base in a bit of a trouble, and but they don't want to inconvenience themselves. That is not true for Nikon. I don't feel that intent. That's not true for Sony. I don't feel that intent. That's not true for Fuji as well. I don't feel that intent. So I think they're far more friendly companies as far as their attitude to the market goes compared to Canon. There's no it's for no reason that Canon triple hammer, that expression exists. It's not for no reason, right? And if you look at the choices they make in their bodies, in their lenses, I think it all points to it all points to a kind of attitude towards the market, and I want to call that out. That
Mhm.
overall attitude is uh, far more important, far more important than one particular launch, 5 particular launches, because it is the overall. Like we'll all talk about this. When we buy a camera, we don't buy one body. We buy into a system. We buy into that family. It is, you like it or not, you are locking yourself in for the next 10, 15 years. So who are the people you're talking to? What attitude do they have towards you? That's what matters. You remember the Canon M mount. It's gone. So many people, right? And who are these
Mhm.
people? They're not the guys who can spend the highest amount of money. They probably have a small business somewhere. They have a small channel somewhere. They've invested that in that N50, M50 Mark II. What's the difference between N50 and M50 Mark II? Nothing. They marked it up by 100, $150 for what? Nothing. I'm saying when I talk about Canon, I look at it holistically, and I don't see I see them being very manipulative, and I have a huge problem with that.
Oh, I would agree with you. I think that they have been. I don't see it as much right now, other than the fact that the big debacle with third party lenses, but that's their business. That they need to take care of. But I remember and hearing all the complaints about the cripple hammer and everything else. But it seems that Canon's put the cripple hammer away, which I think is a good thing for Canon users. But yeah. Again, I'm not going to go out and switch to Canon. I'm not going to go out and switch to Sony or Fuji. And it's not because they're no good. It's because I don't want to. I don't need to. I'm
What
happy.
question? Why do people have to always switch? Can't they
I don't
just like
know.
buy something on the side and try
Well,
it out?
I'll tell you, I'll give you one example. And people may say it's petty or whatever, but you know what? If you're not in those positions, and so be it. If somebody's not giving you what you want when you want, everybody's going to say, well, that's just being childish. Well, I am the petulant child, so I've been called that, and I'll take on that moniker. I want it, and I want it now. It doesn't mean I'm going to get it, but you know what? I'm going to speak out about what I want when I want it. And there are people that will take that to the extreme and say, that's it. I'm going to sell everything I got and go buy into this other brand. And that's okay too. You know, why do we feel so personal about when somebody does that? I mean, can anybody really answer that? I mean, why is it such a personal hit on us when somebody we know says, I'm getting rid of all my Nikon gear, I'm getting rid of all my Canon gear or Sony gear, and I'm going to blank? Why is that
Well,
so personal to us?
it's the same reason that you actually do Chuck Talks.
Yep.
It's the same reason, because you feel about it. That's all. It is personal.
Okay. All right. So, excuse me. So people can't understand why I want it right now, but they can understand how somebody can take it so personally that an individual is going to switch brands. They can understand that, but they can't understand me wanting something right now. Okay.
No, 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 Chuck. But I really understand that. Do you think I'm not frustrated that I don't have the Z8? Like
Okay. All right.
I've been calling Nikon India every 2 weeks for the last. No, no, not kidding. I told them today, listen, take my money. The guy was joking with me. He said, should I book it for you, sir? I said, yeah, definitely take my money. Tell me the account number right now. And he stopped replying to my messages. I said, then listen, hello, you said it. I want to give you the money. Take it. At least you will have the commitment back. So I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying, but I can also understand where Nikon is coming from. That's all I'm saying.
Mm.
I think they're done with a very complex part of the lineup, a very
All
very
right.
difficult and complex part.
So this would help me out a lot. Is it just fun for people to do it? They don't really mean it personally. You know, when we get into the, I don't mean us here, but when people get into those knockdown, drag out battles over brands, is that just for fun? Is that like brother fights where you can beat your brother to
No,
pieces, but then you know he is your brother?
no,
And
I never feel that way, because I think Fuji people are so hostile. I can't even tell you. Like, they're some of the best photographers. If you go to the Facebook groups, they're some of the best photos are actually on the Fuji groups. But oh my god, they're so hostile. Oh my god, they're so hostile.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you
I
ask them
felt
a
that way.
question, they'll say, "Oh, why haven't you read the manual?" I'm like, "Who reads the manual?" Like, I'm sorry, but I don't. I don't have the time for that.
Yeah,
I'd rather ask a question to a friendly person who say, "Hey, I know this answer to this question, and here you go."
yeah.
I think Sebastian just nailed it. He said, they need to, validate their purchases, so they made the right decision.
You know, there's a lot of truth to that. People pick on you for whatever camera you have, then you feel like I've got to defend it because I bought it or whatever. Maybe that's it too. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off track with this,
I
guys.
want to reply to Amar. Amar, you have to realize that I have invested upwards of 40,000 US dollars of camera gear, and I'm not a pro photographer. Okay, I do it for fun. Okay, and I come from a country that's probably not going to feature in the top 100, uh, going by per capita income. So when you tell me that I can't afford something that's why bash shit, I think you need to reevaluate what the sentiment that you're portraying through that sentence. It's not about how much what I can afford. And so you don't know my net worth, for example, to begin with, right? You don't know what I do. You don't know how much I earn, what my priorities of on my spending is. I think it's a very mean spirited sentence. Okay, you should reevaluate that. I am not talking about, so like when I talk about Canon, I'm not talking about Amar. I'm talking about Canon. If you take it so personally as to feel that you can talk about what I can afford or what I cannot, because remember the way you walk to the camera and talk about Leica, and you tend to feel that I can only talk about Leica if I own one. I mean, then I feel for you.
Yeah, you
Uh,
definitely. Yeah, Amar. No, he's got a lot of equipment, man. What are you talking about? Frame's got a lot of cameras, man. Thousands of dollars spent. Pretty sure he could go buy anything he wants right now.
all right. So, you know, so we've gone through the 2022 boom or bust, and you know we've got some agreements and disagreements, and you know how we see it or whatever. But the bottom line is that we got through 2022. And for us Nikon shooters, well, not for you Nikon shooters, but for this Nikon shooter, I was very frustrated all year long. But I'm just that kind of person, okay? Doesn't mean I'm leaving Nikon or I hate the equipment, as I've said so many times before. I just don't like the way Nikon manages itself. You know, hey, Nikon, give me a chance. Let me take over for a year or two. Right. Like that would happen, or anybody would want to see that happen. But that's been my complaint with Nikon this year. But I think it's been a boom bust year for Nikon. I agree that I think Canon had a boom year. I think that Sony had a boom year. And I think Fuji had a boom year. And they've done well. Now, 2023 in a nutshell, without any explanation, we don't need to explain anything. I'll go around the horn here. So 2023, boom or bust for Nikon. You don't need to explain anything. Just boom or
better
bust.
be a boom.
It'll be
Okay.
boom, boom.
Okay. And I agree. It's a boom year for Nikon. And then at the end of the year, we're going to do this again and find out if we were correct or not. So Canon, boom or bust for Canon
I
2023.
think it's going to be a doubtful year because unless they have the R1 and the R5 Mark II, if they get those cameras out and they're great upgrades, then they're going to have a good year.
Okay.
And they
Canon
also need,
already.
they also need a lot of long lenses.
Yeah.
Canon already made a big splash this year. I think they're gonna take a year off and maybe come out with in 2024 with that mega camera.
Yeah.
And there was talk about a Z8 too.
R8.
R8. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I'm kind of in that camp too, Vahagan, and nothing against Canon's not going to hurt themselves, but I agree they went wholeheartedly at it this year. I think so. I don't think we're going to see as many releases. I think we'll see lenses more than anything.
I think Canon will surprise us with a few new like innovative lenses. I think
Yep.
it can happen. F2 zooms, for example.
We're
You never know.
probably not going to see an R5 II for a while, only because they came out with so many cameras. But I think they're taking a year off. They're coming out with some couple of lenses that they need, and wait for them in 24. So
Yeah. Sony boom or bust 2023.
Everyone's expecting an A9 III.
Didn't you
So-
say that already? Every year is Sony boom year.
Well, yeah, I mean they pretty much kick butt. I mean
Like
they're doing
I
great things.
I feel for the Sony guys. They're like, oh, I just bought a new camera and it's already old.
Yeah.
And I haven't received it yet.
Their mount is ultimately going to give them problems in the future with their limitations, but we'll see. I don't see
Yeah.
them coming out with a new mount.
Hey,
Yeah,
bro,
I think there are a few things that could really turn it into a boom year for Sony, but the Sony shooters probably would not like it initially because it's a change. At some point, you have to make a change. There is no easy time to do it, and I think the card is one of those things. And I think even Sony shooters will agree. As much as it's going to hurt them because they're going to have to buy new cards, but would like to see Sony do something like that. It's a shame that it wasn't XQD to begin with, because then it's just a matter of firmware, easy change or whatever, and being able to use XQD with the new camera. But anyway, I think it's a boom year again for Sony. They're just going to continue to put out cameras. I would rather have to wade through a bunch of cameras that are good cameras
I agree.
than wait for a bunch of cameras. So
I think we'll get something from Sony, maybe an A9 III or maybe an A1 II, we'll see. I think they're killing off the A7S line. I think they're killing that camera off.
Actually,
Huh?
no, not too sure. Actually, I think it still got a place. It's been,
No, I
I
think-
mean, it's camera wagon, so I don't think they're going to kill a hero like that.
A7S?
Yeah, A7.
Yeah, no, it's a great camera, but then you have the FX3 though.
Yeah,
So-
but I think they'll keep the S line, as in the sensitive low light line. I think they'll keep it.
They may try to hang on to it for another year, maybe another iteration. I don't know. I hear what you're saying, Vahagan, but there is a huge cult following for that A7S3.
Yeah, but who uses that? No
I
photographer uses that. The
no.
videographers use that.
Yep,
Yeah,
Camera.
it's a
you're
top
absolutely
selling
right.
camera, Morgan. It's a top selling camera, A7S3.
But
Yep.
If you
are
follow,
they
if you
doing stills with it?
Yeah, I don't think that like we do stills, but it is a stills camera that they can use, as well. So I don't know, man. You may be right, Vaughan. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that this coming year. So
I'm saying every like we only think about photographers, but there are some million YouTube channels, and then there's everything else, other social media, and and all of those guys, they're buying two or three of these A7 S3s. It's like I would say it's a huge market, and that camera dominates.
It
so
is, but so is the FX3.
I
And the
think
FX,
here, I think Greg's got it right here. This is what's going to be the boom for Sony 2023 is continuing expansion of the AI with that. I think that's going to
Yeah.
be a big deal. And as
The other
often
thing
as
that
they put out cameras, we can't ever count out that there will be 2 or 3 new bodies come next year that have that new
and
AI.
the other thing that they're reinventing is their Catalyst browse software. They have now premium features, and you can subscribe to it, and then you'll unlock more features. So they're monetizing that software, Catalyst browse. It stabilizes your videos. So it reads the gyro data and it stabilizes the video. So it can replace a gimbal if you have wide enough lenses. So I mean, Sony's been very smart in how they've been sort of monetizing their business. I think it's wonderful,
Yep.
and I think Nikon should also do something like that. It just makes a lot of sense. The one thing that Wagner is talking about is that eventually Sony will have to change the mount. I'm not too sure because their their mount is also 2 mm further away from the sensor. It's We have 16 mm of flange distance on this Nikon, and Sony has 18 mm.
but what's the
So
fastest Sony lens right now as far
yeah,
as
but
aperture?
they're already working on the 1.285, right? They launched that as well. I think I think, and looking at Sony, they've figured out ways to make their lenses very compact. So uh, I think they have figured it out, and they're going to compensate for the mount in their lens design. I think that's what's going on.
Yeah. So let me jump to Fuji real quick because we're getting down to the bewitching hour here before long, and I want to answer GZ Mail's comment there. David Osler, and he's a YouTuber for anybody that hadn't checked him out. And he's all in Sony. He was a Nikon shooter. And when the mirrorless craze started, he jumped over to Sony. And anyway, he's still shooting a A7S3 and he's a wedding photog. So yeah, I hear you, GZ Mail. So I don't know how many times you multiply that by how many other shooters are out there. But there are some photogs that are sticking with it because of its low noise capability at low light, high ISO.
Well, you only get 12 megapixel.
Right. And I guess some people are willing to stick with that. I mean, how many people in the Nikon camp are still saying, "I want Nikon to build a photo only camera that's 12 megapixel"?
Yeah,
Lord have
sure.
mercy.
Hey,
But
photography discourse has a point, Frames. Sorry to cut you off, Chuck.
no,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Baron has a point. That's what I was trying to argue with you.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I see that. I see that. But yeah, they are figuring that out with software. But I think we have to see. We have to wait for the 85 1.2 and see what they do with it. Um, you never know. I mean, looking at what they've done with the 70 to 200 2.8, I kind of feel very confident that Sony will figure out a lens design which will compensate for their flange distance and the small mouth.
Can we get Sony's menu system to be a little less complicated? Really? I think Canon's menu system is the best.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's easy to use.
I found it. I found Nikon was the best, and then because I'm used to Nikon,
Yeah,
Sony
I'm
was
used to
also.
Nikon too, but
Well, that's
Nikon.
just it. I think, yeah. And you know what, Vahagan, I'd have to actually go and shoot with the other brands and deal with their menu daily, until it became familiar to me to really determine which one's the best. I couldn't say. I mean, I can go to a Canon or Sony, either one, and say it's more difficult. It's only more difficult for me, I mean, initially because I don't know it.
Yeah,
For
So I
someone
don't know,
that for someone that doesn't know, for someone that's picking up a Canon for the first time and just
yeah,
clicking on menu, I think it's much easier to learn because they you have the color coding charts and they have laid out really well.
okay,
Nikon, I'm used to it. It's a good menu system as well. I think Fuji's and the Sony's lack in the
okay.
menu system.
Well, I'm
I
glad
get
you
all.
mentioned Fuji because I'm going to jump to that. I want to hit that before we go off on any other tangent. Fuji, Buster Boom, 2023.
Honestly, man, I can't tell you because they've come out with so many cameras this year, right? They came out with the
Yep,
XH2.
yep.
What else? Is the XT5 out yet? Frame?
Yeah, yeah. I got it. It's amazing.
Really?
Amazing. Yeah, I love it. It's 40 megapixel sensor. Oh,
Yeah, so how much can they? I mean, I heard rumors about a new X Pro camera, but I mean, until when? I think they need to develop something new. They have an APS-C sensor that's dominating that market, but I think they need to come out with something. I mean, the GFX line is amazing, but what do they do? You
so
know,
why I'm not supposed to
So
share this with you, but I think the guy told me he does they don't follow. Oh fuck, should I say this? Fuck it. Okay, so they got
no, 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 no,
no.
no cursing, no
no
F word.
cursing.
Oh no, no cursing. Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry. Sorry, Chuck. Okay, okay. I'm
All
really
right, all
sorry.
right.
I
Put a quarter in
apologize.
the cup.
Yeah, okay, I've done it. Ting. There you go. So, so they're coming out with the new medium format very soon in the next 2 months.
Who,
Hmm.
Fuji?
Yeah,
Another one,
yeah,
huh?
yeah. And the promise is it's going to be very fast, as in autofocus is going to be super fast. So yeah, I think we're going to get real challenge from Fuji. Full frame bodies will get a lot of challenge from Fuji if they keep improving like this.
Yeah.
If they come out with a camera that's as not as fast, I mean as fast, kind of with the 35 millimeter full frame cameras, man, I'd be loving that. That'd be awesome.
So,
You know,
sorry, I lost you there.
I'm saying if they come out with a medium format camera that performs like the full frame that we know, as far as autofocus goes,
Yeah, yeah,
that'd be
and
great.
maybe some amount of video, but video will be difficult because it's such a large sensor to scan. But maybe they will just crop into it, and then yeah, but yeah, a lot of promise, Vagan, a lot of
But
promise.
you don't buy that for sports. You don't buy that for video.
Yeah,
I think you
because
buy that for portraits and commercial stuff, and
because the telephoto lenses will be difficult on a wide, large sensor like that. Your lenses will end up becoming very large. That's the problem.
like the
So
landscape. Yeah.
yeah, landscape, wide angle, that medium format look and all that. So I was going to I'll probably do a few videos on the Fuji medium format very soon in the next 3-4 weeks. So we'll talk about that a lot. And I think next year Fuji, they're going to flood the market between $800 to $1,700 price mark, because the XT5 comes at 1750. So between 800 and 1750, they're going to flood the market, and that then opens up a whole different. I mean, so whatever Canon is doing with our R7, R10, R8, Fuji are going to place fantastic cameras there, and then we're looking forward to X Pro 4. I mean, that's something that we're looking forward to.
You,
Lot
you
of
know,
people.
let's face it, Fuji's the smartest of the makers. Now watch this.
Mhm.
They just the APS-C, even Micro Four Thirds or whatever, everything seems to be clicking. And then they have the medium format, which we all know is not standard medium format. I get that. But I mean, they just skipped over full frame and all the problems associated with fights, arguments, and everything else, and put themselves in categories where their competition is less. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
it's a smart, very smart.
But they
And
still
you
have
know, I
they still have a lot of fights with the users fight with all everybody else in the community.
well, yeah, but I mean, the point is that they're smart. They position themselves outside the most competitive market,
yeah.
which is full frame. And that doesn't mean that medium format or APS-C is not relevant. That's not the case. But they've definitely positioned themselves so they don't have to fight that battle. It's just kind
So
of funny, and maybe there's a reason for that.
so
Well, they
so you
tried
know,
it. They tried it with the S3 and S4 Pros back in the day, and they failed. So go ahead,
so
Frame. Sorry.
you have to also see how Fuji are getting the third-party lens makers to make lenses for them and exotic lenses for them. And I mean, and I'm lusting over that lens. Viltrox just launched the first pro line of lenses. It's a 75 1.2, right? It's a 75 1.2, and so they're just. I was watching an interview of this top Fuji official, and he doesn't keep a count on what other third-party lens makers are doing, but he sounded he sounded very okay with it. He was like happy with the fact that, oh, there are so many makers making lenses for the X mount. That attitude. I mean, hashtag Canon. Uh, so I think Fuji has figured it out. I think they are going to attract a lot more new users with the new lenses. I just recently bought the 33 1.4, the 27 2.8. They're fast focusing. They're good. I mean, they had a problem with video autofocus. They don't have that anymore.
Yeah, I'm neutral with Fuji, man. Not boom, not bust. Just every year they're pretty much consistent with what they do. So
I think
Yeah.
they'll hold on to their 5%, 5.5% market share very, very comfortably.
So I want to bring up one more, and there's very little talk about it ever, and but
But
there
but
is.
but real quick, just
Yeah, go ahead.
you hold your thought. Don't lose it. But
Mhm.
as far as GFX goes, though,
Hmm.
GFX they are killing
Yep.
medium format. I mean, they are just destroying Hasselblad. They're destroying the phase ones. No
Yep.
one's buying these 30, 50, $100,000 cameras anymore, and they're going with the Fuji, and they're killing
Yeah,
them. They're
yeah.
killing the market, really.
But
Yep.
that
So
their Achilles heel is the long lenses setup. They don't have the long lenses because it's the wide sensor.
you don't
Yep.
need that. Then you don't shoot that.
No,
You don't shoot. Yeah.
what happens for it's like I'll tell like I'll explain what I mean. Most Fuji guys actually do either portraiture or do a lot of landscape. And what happens in landscape is that two zoom lens are very important: 70 to 200 and 100 to 400. These really allow you to isolate a scene and then take a great picture of that. So for a lot of landscape photographers, these two focal lengths are very important. It's very difficult to get that with a medium format Fuji.
Can I just say one thing? Sorry, Chuck. I know you were going to
No,
say
go ahead.
something.
No, go ahead.
I have a photographer friend. He does
Yeah,
product.
look at Sebastian. 100 to 400 is must for landscape. I agree.
I have a photographer friend that he does commercial product photography work for a big firm, and he owns both the Hasselblad 100, which is like I don't know 50 to 80,000. I don't know how much it is. The top of the line Hasselblad medium format camera, and he also owns the Fuji 100 camera, GFX 100. And he told me that there is a difference. Of course, there is, but there is also a big price difference, which is we're talking 5, 6, 7 times the price. Is it worth 7 times the price to get more accurate color from the Hasselblad? Because the color science on Hasselblad,
Yeah.
it's far superior from the Fuji. You get real accurate colors when you're using. They're doing some magic over there, but that's what you pay for. And he said that it's really not worth it. So what people are doing right now are they're dumping their expensive cameras and they're buying Fujis, and Fuji is killing the market. And that's why you see Hasselblad reinventing themselves now with all the cheap versions of a medium format. You see, cheaper versions.
Yeah. Hey, Terry, they could send me one too, buddy. All right. So I wanted to bring up OM1. You know, I know there isn't much talk about it, but we're talking about
What's that?
Fuji, OM1, OM Systems,
What's that?
Olympus.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
It's like, what's that? I know nothing about it, man. I'm sorry.
But
That's
I know somebody that has one. He's been in the chat. He was in the chat the other day, and you know it turns into a big battle again, brouhaha over it's not
No,
as
no, no,
good or it's
no,
not
no, no.
this, it's not that, or
Full,
whatever.
all respect. I mean, they're really great. It's a great travel system.
But
Travel.
I think the OM1, you know, it is a different camera, and it's gaining a little ground with people that are actually picking it up and shooting it. I just want to bring it up. You know, you have to give OM a boom for their effort this year, or Olympus, or whatever they are. Yeah, and Yaman says the same thing, and I think next year it could carry on with grabbing some more folks that fall in love with the small form factor with the same reach and you know smaller lenses, lighter kit, and everything else. There are people that are just going to go for that, and the quality seems to be there. He's shared photos with me, and I mean they look fine. So I'm just throwing it out there. You know, there is OM is still hanging around, and the new OM1 is beginning to breathe a little life into them. So
You know,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
funny thing is about
definitely that's one thing I
no,
want to do next year personally is,
mm,
kind of reinvent myself with other camera brands
mhm.
and kind of get into that environment and that community. But it's kind of hard, man, when you have all these cameras coming out, it's hard to keep up, you know?
yeah, it's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, you know, from what I know, the three things about the OM system that's really interesting. First is the size of the lenses; they're very small.
yep,
Um, and I have always actually really liked Olympus. From what I have seen, okay, photos posted, videos posted, the colors that they produce are really beautiful colors. I think I would say very close to Nikon. Beautiful colors. I mean, people can talk about oh, colors is a pseudoscience and all that. It pleases my eyes. It's beautiful to look at. So
mhm,
that's something. And then at the end of the day, we're producing images. So yeah, absolutely. And and then they have this, so you would imagine that micro four thirds will not be great for low light photography, but you know what? They have they've crazy ibis in those bodies. I mean, it's some of the best ibis uh, in the world. Is what you get in Panasonic Lumix Micro Four Thirds and Olympus. So that allows you to do a lot of amazing low light photography, especially city, where you have some amount of light. Yeah. So I think those are the three things, and that's something it is intriguing, and for a lot of travel photographers, it makes for a really small kit.
Yeah, and
yep,
again, I don't want to comment because see, my thing is I don't like to comment on things I'm not familiar with.
right.
I rather use the gear and then talk about it than just
Mm.
talking about it. And I just,
Yeah, absolutely.
so I want to use the gear. Let me use it. Let me try it out. Let me see some
So
footage.
one guy who uses a lot of OM system is actually a camera conspiracy. So and yeah, all my knowledge is from him.
Oh, okay.
He's been yeah, no, he's been like an avid like Olympus user for a long time.
Yep, yep, yep.
All right. So Hassan brought up Lumix. I can't speak to Lumix, but if you guys would like to comment about Lumix in 2023, then by all means go ahead. I can't speak to it because I know nothing about Lumix. Well, that said, if you all want to continue this chat for a little longer, I got to go to the little boys' room. And so I'll be right back. But carry on, gentlemen. Just don't burn the house down.
Yeah. Hey, Chuck, 55 people watching right now, man. That's great.
Yeah,
52.
I know it is. It's fantastic. I can't believe that many people want to. Well, maybe they want to see me get my butt handed to me by you guys bringing up stuff.
That's not true at all. I have nothing but respect for you, Chuck.
I know, I know. I'm just
And your
busting on myself. But anyway, let me run the little boys' room. I'll be right back, and we'll see where we stand,
how can you,
gentlemen.
before we go, I have a question. Think about it when you go there.
Yeah,
How can you keep chomping on those? You're eating them non-stop.
yeah,
Is
I
it
know.
I mean, is it even safe for you?
Probably,
He's got good genes, man.
Yeah.
yeah, probably is unsafe. My wife tells me all the time.
You got
My
any
God,
diabetes in your family, Chuck?
you're like a 10-year
No,
old.
All right.
How old are you, Chuck? You're like a 10-year old. How old are you?
62.
I don't
Let him
believe it.
go. Let him go to the bathroom, man. What are you holding him for?
Hassan says eat grits, no regrets.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, I'll be right back. So, those
Yeah.
of you that are viewers that are in here, my wife got me this shirt. I got to show it. Maybe everybody can.
Yeah.
That's my
Nice.
Christmas present.
That's
It's awesome.
awesome.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. And like,
She got
so
that
no,
for me, so I would remember to say it.
yeah, it's okay if you don't subscribe, but don't forget to like, because if you like it once, then you'll keep seeing the suggestion from Chuck. So maybe the next video you watch, you like it again, and then you'll eventually subscribe.
I,
Therefore, please
Hey,
like.
I appreciate every like and every subscription. So I think it's just wonderful. I'm not complaining. It's been a wonderful year. My first year on YouTube. Made a lot of friends, all of you folks in here right now. But with that said, I'm running the little boys' room. I will be right back after I get another cup of coffee as well.
Wow,
Bring me one
caffeine
too.
and chocolates. Like that man is living a wonderful life. Look at
Hey, when are you starting your live
62.
stream, dude? I'll
Yeah,
totally watch it.
no, you will be on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, but you know what, Lumix. So what I realized is that at least from Panasonic India is that they're actually willing to engage with a lot of content creators. So I think they have something big coming up. I agree with Hassan that
Lumix?
yeah, I think they might as actually go nuclear in 2000. And then if they get the autofocus thing figured out, they have a great sensor. They have a fantastic system, especially for filmmakers. All those like i i- those cameras are pro video cameras. They're pro filmmaking cameras. So
They had that they were hit with the GH, what is it?
yeah, GH,
GH4 and
yeah,
5, right?
yeah,
They were a
GH6,
hit.
yeah, GH6. It's on discount. It's time $300 or $400 discount suddenly. So now you're
Yeah.
talking. It's about accurate color and white balance. Long Rider. Vagan. Let's talk about Long Rider. I think he just can't tolerate us talking about color science because it reminds him of his Sony's colors, which are always slightly off.
Yeah, he should come on the stream one day.
Yeah,
Long Rider.
I'm very like it's that American eagle that he has put, like very patriotic. Yeah.
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 So man, you're doing a good job with your videos, man. I saw that one with the Calcutta.
Which one?
That was a great one. Am I saying the city right? Cal-
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. That's actually like
Where
I
you're
I think
from? Cal- how do you
yeah,
pr-
yeah.
how do you pronounce the city's name?
But it's Kolkata.
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 Okay.
Yeah, Kolkata. Oh yeah. Oh my God, you got it right. Not bad. So
Kolkata. Yeah.
I did it last year or did it this year? Maybe this
Yeah,
year.
man. I think you're finding the groove, man.
Yeah, it's just that something like I feel like I forget about likes and views and all that. I just at times I want to create content for myself and
Mm.
for the romance of shooting and just like I just non-stop. I spend whole days outside, like start in the morning and then come back late in night and spend the whole days outside and collect those thousands of pictures. And then I thought, okay, let me just do a video on it because
I th- I think
nothing else.
I think next year I'm gonna be more consistent when it comes to like when I post. Um,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I kind of like what Bayou Josh was doing with the he was doing it once a week, but everybody knew that at 9 a.m. Friday morning, Pacific time, we were gonna see a Bayou Josh video, right? So I kind of think I kind of like that strategy. Um, but at the
Mm.
same time, you're kind of pressured to put something out every Friday, you know?
Oh, I don't think so much. When I'm ready with something, I have to put it out right now. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
right. Yeah, that's kind of
I
how I
don't have
roll.
that. I don't have the discipline. It's fine. I'm like, okay, just
That's kind of how I roll, man. I just
yeah,
put out
because
something.
it should be fun, And plus, if you have something, why will you hold yourself back and just do it?
No, I think it's a strategy that a lot of the YouTubers were using, where it's like, okay, every Friday, it's Bayou Josh Day, you know.
So I think I'm not a YouTuber guy, so I don't care about these strategies. Just
I mean, you know what I mean, photographer slash YouTuber slash, you know. So yeah.
so
Hey,
this for me is more for avenue for expression and just yeah. What's
yeah,
up, Chuck?
Coffee. That's good.
So
man,
Chuck, do you have
caffeine, sugar.
Yeah, you got
Chuck?
it, man.
You got
Yes, sir.
where's the cigarettes and alcohol?
Yeah. Yeah, I need to add that to the repertoire.
No,
Chuck,
I'm
if you don't
kidding.
mind, can I ask you a question? Personal
Yes,
question.
please.
So are you a granddad?
Yes, I have six
Oh
beautiful
wow.
grandkids.
Six. They're lucky
Yes.
kids, man. They're
Hmm.
lucky. Like they must have a lot of fun with you, right?
Well, when I get to see them, yes, and hopefully that'll
Uh,
be sooner rather than later. Meaning I'll be down there where they're located, get to see them grow up. So now
uh,
it's just periodically I get to see them. Four boys and two girls.
so you're going to take all your setup and move there, or what's the
Yep,
plan?
yep. Lock, stock, and
Really?
barrel. Yep, everything.
Oh, so where are you right now, and where will you move?
I'm in Connecticut here in the U.S., which I've made some
Oh,
great friends here. There are good people here, but I don't care for the state. I don't care for their politics. I don't care for the weather. And
ah,
it's time to go back south. So I'm heading south. We're going down to Tennessee.
Tennessee. You are a political man. I know you're politically quite sensitive. I know that. That's why you say that everything but not politics, because
That's
that
exactly right. Because
that
that's the,
that will
that,
provoke you. That will provoke
yes.
you.
It just turns
Yeah,
the conversation into a fight, and I
yeah.
just rather not do that because I think people come here to the channel to talk about photography and gear, maybe not so much gear for some people, but to talk about photography. And I want to keep it that way. It's bad enough. We have enough politics in the photography community, don't we?
Oh
Yeah, you
yeah.
know what? The other day I was watching something and I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of sick and tired of the news. I'm really sick and tired of the news. And I decided to not watch the news that much anymore. I'm just the same old back and forth crap.
Yep.
But hey, in honor of the Greys of Westminster, I
Mhm.
decided in 2023 to say Nikon
Nikon.
the whole year.
Yeah, but but it's
I'm
always
gonna
Nikon Vaga.
I'm gonna see if I can do it. I'm gonna see if I can do it.
That,
Nikon, Nikon,
that'll be fun. And the Z9, the Z7, the Z6. Yeah.
Z. I'm gonna say Z and Nikon from.
Yeah.
Let's see if I could do it. I challenge myself.
So I'll call you out every now and then when you slip.
Nikon, Nikon.
So I'm glad you brought up Grays because I did want to mention that. That's kind of what prompted this conversation today about boom or bust, because I watched Grays talking about the past year for Nikon. Of course, that's all they're going to talk about because they're a Nikon only channel, and that makes sense. But I detected that Becky wasn't quite as thrilled with Nikon's performance this year. I'm not saying she was angry about anything. I don't think she ever gets angry about anything, really. But I just detected a note of almost sarcasm when she said, "Yeah, Nikon did good."
Yeah, no,
And
I
they
think I
brought
know
up
what you're
every
saying.
point. They brought up every point they could about what Nikon's done this year, which is fine. That's great. But I think everybody's ready for a boom year for Nikon. That's why I don't agree that it was an absolute boom year. But I think that 2023 is going to change things in the Nikon camp because there are going to be a whole lot more happy people in the Nikon camp, being all those that felt they kind of got left out this year. So enough said about that. But I just wanted to bring up Gray's. I thought it was interesting. If you haven't seen Gray's of Westminster's 2022 wrap up, it's interesting to watch and hear what they have to say.
I think we
And
should all get together in the UK, all of us, Frames, you, me, and everybody, and just hit up Grays, like just you know,
Yeah, I can do that.
storm the party.
I can do that.
that would be fun. That would be fun. I wish I had the money to do all the things that we've come up with, Vahagan. The grab a Winnebago and do a tour across the U.S.
Yeah,
live
well, you
streaming
have
as
the
we
money to
go.
go to. You have the money to go to England once. It's fine.
I'm gonna be sitting in their panel, like their live stream, and I'll be like
Yeah.
stirring up shit. Oh, sorry, crap.
Thank you.
In the in their live stream. Oh, we have
Yeah.
a guest here from America. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh no. And I'm gonna go and bash Canon.
No.
That's my theme for 2023.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
hey,
definitely.
so a public service. Okay. So I think a lot of people like I've at least often heard that yeah, I see so much of politics everywhere. Whenever I go on social media, there's some crap happening. Oh, sorry. Oops. Some nonsense happening and all that. So, I think, one idea to remember is that, you can always train your algorithm. So, what you do is if you're seeing that but you have to be conscious of it. Like, if you're seeing too much political nonsense, or maybe it's just bringing you down, it's
Erase the history.
making you very, yeah, negativity. What you do is you ensure that you do 10 searches on things that are pleasant, that are empowering, that are positive, and helps you grow in some way or the other. Just if you just keep searching, and if you keep feeding, you tell the algorithm to show you the stuff that's actually useful. So yeah, that's something that
Yeah.
I'm practicing recently.
What
It
I
really
do
does.
what I do is just erase the history and the search history, and it just takes all that stuff out of my feed, you know? But that's definitely one thing I want to do, guys, is visit the Grays one day.
Yeah, I would like
I,
to
I
too.
I just don't know when, but hopefully they're still around by the time I get in that part of the country, you know. Hopefully Mr. Grays doesn't pull the plug on the YouTube thing.
I hope so. I hope that's the case because I still enjoy, even though I can get frustrated over there as well sometimes. And I mean, it's my own bias. I'm just tired of talking, ancient cameras and film. It has its place or whatever. But man, it just because I think it takes away from anything new with Nikon. It seems like we've got to speak bad of what Nikon's doing, new cameras, even DSLRs. But a lot of people enjoy going over there and talking about that, and I think that's wonderful. But I do enjoy the banter over there in their chats. I understand that they have a bias. I get that, and not just with Nikon or for Nikon, but with other YouTubers and everything else. But that's just all part of it.
That's
Everybody
cool.
gets
I
everybody gets
mean,
to do what they want on their channel, and that's the way it should be.
yeah, no, it's great. One thing I tell them if they're listening is look around. Look around who else is producing content. I know they gave me a shout out a few times in their streams, but also look around who you can help. You know, there's a lot of Nikon communities out there
Yep.
that will find out about. I'll give you an example about frames, about Chuck's talks. You know, takes 10 seconds. You know, that's it. So
Yeah. Yep. Nothing wrong with
no,
helping
no.
others out. I don't know. Maybe some. It seems like the larger you get as a YouTuber, and you get into the realm of influencer or whatever, you kind of protect your territory by not bringing up anybody else that may challenge your viewership. Or I guess
No,
that's the way they
I
see it. I don't know how
disagree.
they see it.
I disagree with that. I really disagree with that. If people like your stuff, they will watch you. If people hate you, they will not. Well, maybe they'll still watch you, but they won't comment and stuff. But yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I don't believe in that. It's all about helping people. Like, so I like doing that. So Z Wade Z Wade says they had a board meeting on how to pronounce Nikon.
No, no, yeah, but you know what? A funnier comment is that Greg Wilson, Nature Photography, comes back after an hour and says, "Ah, you're still here as out of commission for." Like, and this is not the first time I'm seeing a comment like that. A comment like that. This, someone
Yeah,
went off for a while and come back. We're still on.
he's in my time zone, so he probably went and he went for a walk and had lunch and walked the dog and took a shower and came back.
So, hey, speaking of smaller channels, up and coming, and everything else, not that he's a small individual in the photography community, just in the YouTube community recently, is Photography Discourse. For those of you that haven't checked out his channel, if you're a Nikon shooter and really a Nikon fan, he's all Nikon, and he doesn't bash the other brands or anything like that. But get over there and check out his channel. He just did a video recently on all the Nikon 1.8 lenses, the S lenses. So I'd recommend, if you're a Nikon shooter, go over there and check him out, and maybe subscribe and drop a like on his content. But yeah,
So behind the name Photography Discourse is it's Baron and Baron Silvertone, and you know what, I happen to sort of know him, and we've become friends over the last couple of years. And uh, one thing that is surprising about Baron is how like he's such a deep critical thinker, like, and he's extremely passionate. Like,
Mhm.
we can talk about really, and so if you want clarity on a subject, like you should hear Baron talk about it, like, yeah, crystal clear and in
No,
depth.
you guys are brothers from other mothers. You and
Yeah.
Flame. I
Mhm.
mean Baron. That's what I'm saying. You guys will be talking all technical. I'll say, you know what? Give me that camera. Give me that camera. I don't care what the megapixel. Just give me that. Let me show you what this thing can do. All right. You can
Bagan
worry
wants to
about
fight back.
megapixel all you want, man.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
can fight all you
Sebastian,
want. Let me take a picture. Get out of here.
you,
Get out of here, friend.
you're so right, and that's why I say it all the time, and I truly mean it. I am humbled that people will come here and stay for 3 or 4 hours. Um, I find it amazing when there's so much other content out there, and especially content where you're going to get taught something or whatever. But that was never my intent for this channel. It was just to be, open for everybody to come in and talk about whatever they want to talk about, which everybody does, and that's fine. And just like Greg, it happens all the time with people that'll walk away and they'll come back an hour and a half later and say, "You're still here. You're still going." And oh, by the way, we're back on the same topic we were an hour and a half ago. And that's the fun behind this channel is, there is no,
But to talk
it's
about
not,
Chuck
it's
Swinton,
not scripted at all, you know.
to talk about Chuck, Vagan, I just realized today. I think I didn't join Chuck's chat for the last 3 months or so. He got so mighty pissed, he dropped me from the mailing list. So
Yeah, it's good to have you back, man. So does this mean you're
bash
gonna be
this
on every
guy,
week?
no more. So I'm like, where's the link? I thought, like, yeah,
No, you got tired of
yeah,
not coming
I
on.
agree.
So
And and
No,
and and I noticed, like, why didn't I get it this week? Let me join.
Yeah,
Well, it was a matter of I didn't want to bug you, man. I figured, okay, I bugged him enough. Let me go bug some other people.
hey, for those of you guys don't know, Baron and I frames, we actually did. Was it live streams or we did
It was one of
something
the
in the
first
early
one.
days?
Yeah.
Huh?
It was like we recorded a conversation and then we put it
Yeah,
up.
and we did things with it was me, you, Baron, and then we did the Stu Blue days, the Troy days.
Yeah. Dude, I miss Blue actually. He's such a fun guy.
Ryan Troy.
Ryan, what a mean guy. Why are you laughing?
No, because I remember what you said the one time.
I didn't tell you anything about anything. Shut up.
All right, all right, all
What
right.
is
I'll
it?
shut up. All right, all right. I won't say
But
anything.
you know what? So, but I missed Two Blue. Yeah, what happened?
Oh, he's He's working on a pot farm or something. I don't know.
What?
Pot farm, marijuana,
Really?
hashish,
That he is. That he is.
mota.
Thanks, Albert. I'll
What?
check it out.
No.
How did he move from being like a police chief to working with I mean, that is wow, that's colorful. Like, yeah, well,
Yeah, ¿dónde está el
all the
mota
more reason
ese?
to.
Hey, I also want to throw something else out here real quick. Anybody is welcome to become part of the panel. I call it the panel. I don't know what to call it, the room, the panel, or whatever. But anybody's welcome to join us and in here. If you have the means to stream, and by obviously today you can see if you had the means for audio, you don't have to be able to produce video. But if you'd like to be on the show, just send me a email and we'll make it happen. So I want to throw it out there. This is not the same people show up all the time because they want to, except for Frames. He ignores me for months at a time. But
What? Listen, I don't ignore you. You decide to come on live when I'm like sleeping mostly. Either it's too early in the morning or too late in the night. Like, what do I do?
no, well, you stay up, man. I'm
Right,
just
all
kidding you.
right.
I'm just busting your chops, dude.
Next time when you're about to get up and go to your like little boy's room, I'm
But
going to be
you
talking
know
to
what's
you.
cool about this platform you have, Chuck, is that every week you'd have somebody different on.
Yeah, it's true.
It
Yeah.
gets stale. If you have me on every week, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. So, just it'll get stale. So,
How do you think I feel?
well, you're the host. You're the main guy. You're Larry King.
Yeah, I may look like him, but oh man,
So
Wow.
it's good that you rotate guests. Like one week we'll have Jeff on, and Greg's there he goes. I think that's his third time he's asked
No,
the same
but
question.
hey, Greg.
so
Jeffrey's just taking a break. I mean, it's a holiday season. He's been on I don't know how many streams, which is I mean that's a big obligation that he took upon himself. I appreciate it, but he's taking a break and he's going to maybe work on his channel, see what he can do with his channel, and look at that going into the next year. But yeah, all the best to Jeffrey. I feel bad. I felt bad that he joined for so long and he was always in here. It's always great having Jeffrey, but we'll let him take a break. And so, I'm looking for a new sidekick. I'm just kidding. I'm
see,
just kidding.
at times, a quiet and distant observer objectively can figure things out and tell you what it is like. So Greg Wilson Nature Photography says, frames, you only need to stay for half a day around here.
Oh man.
It's true.
But
It's
there are a
true.
few people that I would like to see on your panel, like that I haven't seen, like Greg Wilson or Michael McDermott,
I think you should get Baron on because he's
Baron,
leaving.
and then one other guy. Oh, Long Rider, I haven't seen at all ever.
Yeah, I've talked to Long Rider.
Oh yeah.
We've had Albert on. Albert, we may get Albert to join us again for a chat. Hey, before you take off, thanks for dropping by. Always love your channel. Always love your content, man. And I hope a lot of people get over there and check you out, Baron. So have a great day. Happy New Year to you too, sir. And we'll see you in 2023.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what's behind that eagle picture.
What eagle picture?
Long rider.
Oh,
Long rider.
Hey,
Sounds like a very aggressive picture, but it's like bird of prey.
hey guys, I'm gonna bow out for a bit, but I'll be in the chat if you guys are gonna continue. But this was awesome. Thank you, Chuck, again.
well, you're more than welcome. Thank you. Thank you for jumping in. I'm sure everybody enjoys you being in here as well.
Frames, it's always a pleasure. You know that.
Yeah, it's
We
always a
play
pleasure to
phone
talk
tag
to
all
you,
the
Morgan.
time, but it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but you've been away for a while now, so yeah. I was going to ask you what's keeping you
What?
busy.
What was that?
I was going to ask you what's keeping you busy.
Just editing, man. Client work, um, catching up with the wedding
Oh, yeah.
stuff, and then this YouTube thing, and also, being a family man. I gotta,
Yeah.
kids and family. So it's hard, but I balance it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that I hope everybody appreciates for anybody that's on YouTube providing any content is how much time it takes away from your family. So for those that are thinking about it, you need to consider that before you begin because it will steal time away. If you have a family, um, your wife's going to be jealous because I hear it all the time. When the phone rings, is that one of your boyfriends? Talking about when the folks that do call. And but she's very supportive of me, so I would say that if you can balance it, then you're a success. But no matter how good your channel is, if it's taking too much time away from your family, you're going to hear about it. So for those that do push the content on YouTube and everybody enjoys it, thank them every now and then for doing so because it is a chore, a happy chore. I enjoy doing this. And I've said from the beginning, as long as I'm having fun, I'm going to continue to do it. Now, my wife has other aspirations. She wants me to have 2 million followers. That's how she says it. And whatever.
So cool.
And this is where we disagree. I'm happy. I'm happy with what I have, and I'll be happy with whatever I have next year. I just enjoy, being in here with you guys and the likes of the Hagen and Frames TM. You know, it, again, you in the chat, you are the folks that make this channel bearable. As in my first one or two streams where I had one individual that was in there. He never made a comment. After the fact, he left a comment saying, "You put me to sleep." So
I'm
that's
just I'm just happy to do a show with the two OGs. Frames TM,
Uh,
Chuck. You guys are the OGs of this thing, so it's good to
yeah,
be with you guys.
and truly, not that I expect to be, have an enormous subscriber base anytime soon, if at all. But that scares me, Sebastian, is when if the channel grows that much where we have, 100, 200, 300 people in here in the chat. I don't know how I'm going to keep up. I can't keep up with you all. So,
before I forget, I must say, and before Vag, um, so when I was thinking of joining this chat, and whenever I see chat, like I get an opportunity to at least watch the Chuck chats, I I feel like I need to say something that kind of makes the whole conversation a bit more controversial and makes it a little more fun and like edgy and all that. So I thought, what do we talk about today? I said, okay, let me let me talk about Canon. And some of the stuff I said is actually, I mean, I think all of it is true. But do I feel so strongly against Canon? Not really, not really. I click so, but I think I was mildly successful in getting, getting the blood hot in the veins for a while, and it's like it's that's cool. It's always good to feel
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
It's always good to feel something.
Yeah, I mean
Whatever
that's.
you do, feel it.
Do you remember the Jared Polin show we had?
Yeah. I
That
mean, it
was.
was all feeling, bro. It was all like Jared wanted to clear kind of he said he was like, I want to say what I want to say to these guys. I'll go to the shows and I'll clear my name. And
It was
I
cool,
was
wasn't it?
yeah, it
I
was.
thought it was cool. And then you went to town with him. It was funny,
Yeah,
man. Jared,
yeah.
you're like,
And
why aren't you?
apparently it was Vanessa Joy who showed that video to Jared, and then he got triggered. Oh, really? There's some guy who's doing this and all that. Yeah, that was the beginning. So Vanessa Joy goes to him and say, "Hey, have you seen this?"
Yeah, but
Yeah.
anyway,
All right, Vahagan, man. I hate to see you go, but I'm going to wrap it up here soon too. But brother, thanks for dropping by. Have a productive day, and I'm glad you had a good holiday. And we'll see you in 2023, if not on New Year's Eve.
yeah, thank you, Chuck. Frames, always a pleasure. Thanks everyone in the chat. Thanks for the support and great times and looking forward to next year. So, and yeah, had a good time. Thanks, guys.
You're
Frames,
more than welcome, buddy.
rock and roll.
You are gonna have a great year ahead, and Happy New
You too,
Year.
brother.
I'm going to talk.
You
Yeah,
too. You
thank
too, guys. Arrivederci. Bye.
All right, rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
So here's me wishing everyone a very very happy New Year, and especially if you're a Canon shooter, a very 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 happy New Year. And and yeah, I think we're going to see a fantastic year ahead with Nikon with the Z8 and the 85 1.2, and then the 35 1.2. I'm like, I
Yep.
can't. Yeah, those two lenses. Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
don't forget the 2 to 500 because there are a lot of people that really want that lens.
now that's 2 to 600.
Or 2 to
And
600. I stand corrected.
and I think it's going to be a stellar lens. It's definitely going to be a one up on the Sony version. So yeah,
You know, this is going to be a good year coming, only because Nikon has a lot to. Well, what am I trying to say? Again, they've done a fantastic job this year, I think, for all the long range shooters. I think next year, maybe we're going to see all the portrait, wedding photographers, landscape photographers get some love and attention.
and one other, I mean, something that you haven't probably taken note of enough is the DX wide angle zoom that they have promised to,
Yep.
which tells us that Nikon is taking the vlogging segment very seriously as well.
Yep.
So we will see a decent crop sensor APS-C camera because you see that lens being listed there. So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be overall very very prolific year for Nikon.
Oh, I can't disagree. It's been a good year, but again, you know me, I want more.
Yeah, I can
And
see you finish all the M&Ms that America can offer you. My God.
all right, gentlemen, I thank everybody in the chat, everybody for being in here today. It was a great chat. I appreciate everybody being civil, and that's the one thing that I think is fantastic. You guys have been fantastic about that. I go to so many other live streams, and it seems to just break up into a bar brawl, and I don't want to see that happen over here. As somebody brought up all the experience that's in the chat, yes, that's you all, everybody in the chat, not just those that may be on the screen, but you in the
Yeah.
chat. The amount of knowledge out there is
Oh yeah,
unbelievable.
I was going to say that. Oh yeah.
And And I love the sidebar conversations that go on in the chat. I think that's one of the things I would never want to change. I don't want people to be focused on me or anybody else. If they've struck up a friendship in the chat, that's what it's all about. It is the photography bar, as Jeffrey so kindly said, where everybody gets together, has a beer, whatever your drink of choice is, and just has a good time. So I want to continue that. I know you guys you want the same. So that said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Frames for his parting thoughts, and then we'll wrap this up.
So my parting thoughts are going to be this about the community that we have here. And although this community, I see, like, I know it's the same people who I see in my comment section, but I don't have a live chat. And so I can almost, I'm starting to know them by name, which is very interesting. And like, I recognize them, I understand how they are, what they talk about. I can almost, um I can appreciate them as individuals. Like, I have a certain image of Long Ride, I have a certain image of Albert, um of Yamin, for example. I am Hassan. So it's this is unique, and I must say that, Chuck, what we have here is not a bunch of Nikon crazy fanboys. I think we have people who are like the serious users of Sony, serious users of Canon and Fuji. So really, although we talk 90% about Nikon, uh, finally and fundamentally, we are all camera lovers and photography lovers and film lovers, portrait lovers, wildlife lovers. And I think the brand allegiance is only a part of the whole discourse, and it just adds to the fun. I think that disagreement where we have, it just adds spice to the conversation and not spite to the conversation. You know what I mean?
No, I
Spice,
agree.
spite. So yeah. So having said that, wish you all a fantastic year ahead, and may you all shoot till your cards are full and batteries are empty, like that guy Martin what is his name, that guy says. Yeah, it's a wonderful way to.
All right, Frames. Thanks for jumping in today. I really appreciate it. Yes, I quit sending you invitations, not because I didn't want you to come, just because I didn't want it to be annoying. I knew that you'd catch up whenever you could. So good to have
Yeah,
you
yeah.
in here. I know that everybody in the chat enjoys you being in here as well. And I want to throw out to Robert Varner. I'm coming to your house for dinner. If you're making lasagna for New Year's, that sounds real good. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
All of you. Thank you very much. So here we go. This is the wrap up of 2022 for my channel anyway, other than Saturday night. It's just going to be fun. I don't know what we'll talk about, but we're starting a new year Saturday night, pretty much so. We can all just have a good time. So for those that don't have any place to go, if you're not going to be out partying, by all means, drop in. We'll be live, and we definitely have to go until we'll keep it going until the new year, ring in the new year here, and then start all over again. All right. That said, God bless you all. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you would drop a like on the way out, and if you like what we do here, by all means, maybe consider subscribing and becoming part of this community. Whether you chat or not doesn't matter to me. If you enjoy just sitting back and listening, and I have a lot of people that have sent me emails saying they don't get in the chat, but they enjoy sitting back and listening. If that's your thing, then by all means, just come by and listen to us. All right. That's it, gentlemen. Again, I can't thank you enough. I will see you Saturday night for the absolute wrap up of 2022 and the opening of 2023. Take care.
Bye, Chuck. See